Well, hello there. Welcome back to another episode of True Crime Metrix. Tonight we're going to be having a little look at Sarah Dugan's cross-examination from the 2022 retrial of Katherine Magbanua. Yes, she came back to the stand after getting a mistrial in 2019 for the murder of FSU law professor, Professor Dan Markell. Yep, here she is again. Any more celebrities in the house tonight, guys? Well, we had Fancy Fiction come all the way from sunny California to our little program over here. I've been having a complex about that all day. You know, it's a bit like if someone has been learning to play the guitar, right? And you've learnt C, and you've learnt A minor, and you've learnt G sharp, and you've learnt how to go from A minor to G sharp. And everyone around you is saying, hey, Metrix, really good with the guitar playing, Metrix. Yeah, you're going places, Metrix, fantastic. And then Sheryl Crow comes in to listen to me play, you know? And I just want to crawl into a cupboard, delete all my content, burn down the mug factory, and forget this ever happened. But it was very nice to have you in, Fancy. Welcome to the program. We hope you come back to this nothing, talentless show over here. Okay, we haven't defined ourselves yet, Fancy. Okay, so watch this space. Anyway, welcome DJ Miller. Welcome Leah. Udi, first in line as always. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, not much of a notice today, guys. I got back pretty late to the studio. We had to do a little bit of shopping today. So, and as you can see, you know, Fancy comes in and already the thumbnails suffer terribly, you know. So it's a terrible thumbnail. It's not balanced. The composition's completely amateur, and I'm going to have to redo it at a later stage. But we just didn't have time tonight, or any time to give you guys the notice you deserve about when we're starting. But we did put out a poll to our user community viewership today, guys, and I was a little bit surprised. This is what it said, if anyone missed it. It said, for tonight's show, we will be looking at Katherine Magbanua's second time on the stand from her 2022 retrial. Wondering whether to bother with Tara Kawass's direct or skip straight to Pitbull Sarah Dugan's cross. Any thoughts? And there were two options. Let's cover Tara Kawass or skip it, bring on the Pitbull. And it was a 32% to 68% split, respectively. Which surprised me. I didn't think we'd get that many votes for seeing Tara Kawass, because isn't it a little bit boring? So it's decisive enough for me to take it into account, and we're skipping Tara Kawass. We might catch a bit of her redirect. I was thinking earlier, maybe I'll just quickly run through the direct examination and take a 2-minute chunk from there, a 2-minute chunk from there, and stitch it together for a little scene setting. But why bother? We know it's all the same. Share screen, okay? I'm going to crack on with this, guys. Uh-oh. Sigfredo Garcia. I tell you what, I also listened to Judy from a Legal Focus interviewing Yindra Velasquez Mascaro today. Good interview. Long, pretty long. I think it could have been condensed a little. But who am I to talk with all these 4-hour streams over here, right? Anyway, Yindra, great to hear something from you. And I absolutely agree with many points you say, controversial as they may be to some. But no, it was said that she was one of the only humans to testify in the in any of the trials, really, because don't we get some weird stuff going on in these trials, guys? But Yindra comes on and it's like, oh, look, a human being. Just a sort of a normal person, quite friendly. And yeah, if anyone hasn't seen that, everyone should go check out Judy's channel, AA Legal Focus, for the I think it's about 3 hours, the interview with Yendra. But great. And Yendra, if you're out there listening to our program, come on the show. We have some questions for you as well. And I've been writing some more down that were missed on AA Legal Focus. So that'd be great to have you on. Anyway, guys, we're here for Sarah Dugan today primarily because doesn't she just come out the gate, right? As much as we love, or the amount that we love Georgia, the never-ending, undying love we all have for Georgia Cappleman and her fantastic skill. Hard act to follow by any standard, right? But Sarah Dugan follows it very well. Little bit of a different style, bit more animated, bit more hostile. That's why I call her the Pitbull, because she just grabs hold and does not let go. Georgia Cappleman is the bear of the courtroom, and Sarah is the Pitbull. So let's have a look how that goes for Katie. Starting now, roll tape, please.
Testimony at this time, cross-examination. Ms. Dugan, you may proceed.
All right, so I want to talk about what you just talked about with your attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
You said that you and Charlie Adelson were together in July of 2014, right?
Yes, ma'am. No, July 2014.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hey, DJ Miller, my picture is on the Discord. Join the Discord. Link in the description. It's free. It's a community. Everyone's in there chatting, making suggestions about the show, talking amongst themselves, talking to me, talking to our sound controlist, the Labrador over there. And it's fantastic. But yeah, what do I look like? Well, my picture's right there. And we will be getting a camera sorted soon, guys. And we'll do some more visual stuff. And we've got loads of ideas for other content. So anyone who hasn't subscribed already, you know what to do.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you broke up in August, you said?
I believe so.
Okay. And then you became friends after that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you became his personal assistant in September of 2014.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so that all goes on in the matter of those 2 months, July to September 2014.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're someone's personal assistant, you have to see or talk to them every day, right?
See and talk to them every day?
Mhm.
Talk to them on the phone, but
Right.
not have to see them.
Okay. Did you and Charlie continue to talk on the phone every day, multiple times a day, since you were his personal assistant?
Multiple times a day? I don't remember.
Well, every day then?
I don't remember if it's every day.
Okay. Well, how often would you talk to them?
I don't know. You have like phone records?
No, I'm just asking you, what's your memory of how often you talked to him?
From 2014?
When you became his personal assistant?
I don't know how often I was talking to him.
Well, if you're working for him and being his personal assistant, you
Whenever
said
he would call me, so I mean,
is that it's everyday duties that you had?
he was calling. I don't know how often he was calling me. That's why.
Man, doesn't Katie just look like she's had her hand in the cookie jar? What a guilty face, posture, this repeating of the question all the time. Talk and see them every day? It's ridiculous. Terrible coaching from Tara Kawass. What was she doing? You know, I think Charlie must have watched Katie on the stand multiple times, gone through it with Daniel Rashbaum and said, look, this is what not to do when you're up there, okay?
I don't want to answer like a wrong amount or a wrong number.
Okay. Well, you were getting paid every 10 days for your work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you would have regular work and you'd have regular contact with him during all of your pay periods?
Not regular contact, no. I don't know how many times he would call me during the week.
Okay. And he had just broken up with you 2 months before that.
Like I said, like I was telling Ms. Kawass that I never had like a definitive date when we stopped like talking.
Sometime between the murder though and when you became his personal assistant, he broke up with you though. That was your testimony?
Like it was dwindling down, like our our relationship. I
Meaning that
guess.
he was
Dwindling down, guys. We need a little buzzer, a little bell or something, a chart to write down the number of times, make a tally. Everyone get your notepaper out. Dwindling down. And I can just see Tara Kawass walking in the little meeting room that they have at the jail saying, "Your relationship was dwindling down." Tell them that when you're on the stand.
ghosting you. That's what
Something
your
like that,
attorney
yeah.
said in her opening
Yes,
statement.
ma'am.
Okay. Why would he want you working as his personal assistant if he was ghosting you?
Well, I told you that I needed that favor for the insurance purposes. That's why I put that I was working for him.
Uh-huh. And you needed that favor, though. You needed that favor, and you asked him for that favor actually in June of 2014, didn't you?
If that's what the records show.
Mm-hmm. Showing the first composite exhibit state 136.
All right, well, let's make sure we're gonna get it. You're asking that State's Exhibit 136 is admitted into evidence?
No objection.
It'll be admitted as State's Exhibit 136.
Permission to public.
Yes,
Sorry about that. I thought we did
That's all right.
All right. Looking at this, you asked him for this favor. Baby, I need your help with employment. I have to send it to DCF for my prison insurance. Also, if I end up moving, I need to show I'm working for you or else I won't be able to get an apartment. That was in June of 2014, right?
Hi, Neverly. Yeah, happy Sunday. Is it Sunday? I didn't even realize. I didn't even know. It just one day blends into the next. You know, I woke up this morning with after having the strangest dream that Fancy Fiction showed up in the chat last night. And then for most of the day, I thought that was real. But now I know that I'm finally awake and that never happened. We'll never speak of that again.
Yes, ma'am.
June 24th, actually, right in between the trips to Tallahassee to commit this murder, right?
Say the dates again.
June 24th, that's in between the June Tallahassee trip and the July Tallahassee trip
I believe so.
that you asked for this favor for him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then you guys were together at the time that you asked this favor, right?
I believe so.
Right, but he didn't put you on the payroll in June, did he?
No, I don't think I was on the payroll till September, you said?
Okay, so that was a favor that he did for you after he broke up with you, you're saying?
We never really broke up. Like, I guess when we stopped having like that type of relationship.
Right, you were no longer intimate with each other?
Not that I could recall.
Okay. You said that y'all broke up sometime after the murder of Dan Markel, and then about in May, that's when you got together with Sigfredo Garcia, right?
I got in 2015.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
But you said that in August, that's when he broke up with you.
I don't know the dates that when we stopped or not stopped, but like when our communication dwindled down in the relationship.
Okay. You
Yeah.
asked him for that favor in June when y'all were definitely together, though.
I believe so.
And he ghosted you.
Hugh Hefner says that even as transparent Katie's lies are, even as transparent as Katie's lies are, there still was a hung jury on the first trial. I don't understand people sometimes. Well, I can't confirm this to be accurate, but I remember a while back seeing on Carl Steinbeck's channel that he said that there was a member of the jury on that first trial that had purple hair, okay, and was anti-government and wanted to stick it to the man and just gave a mistrial for the fuck of it. I don't know if that's got any veracity whatsoever, but I do remember hearing that at some point. Maybe someone should go and ask Fancy what the facts are on that, okay? You know, go and ask a real channel, a credible channel, a channel that's worth something, not this channel.
After the murder of Dan Markel, that's what the argument is, right?
Okay.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But at the
Also, many thanks to Mentor Lawyer for publishing this video that we're using today. Link to his channel in the description. And although I haven't asked permission, we still at True Crime Metrix send a big thank you to Mentor Lawyer.
same time that you're saying he ghosted you, you're also saying he asked you to become his personal assistant.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Does that make any sense?
I needed the help to get my kids' insurance. I don't.
Why would he want his
Anything
ex-girlfriend who he doesn't talk to and he's ghosting to become his personal assistant?
He talks to his other ex-girlfriends.
No,
I'm
I
not
said,
going-
why is he ghosting you but asking you to become his personal assistant?
Because I'm asking him for the favor so that I can.
Right,
have
but at this
insurance.
point, y'all are broken up.
What is
When he
that?
puts you on the Adelson Institute payroll, right?
Why we stayed as friends? We were friends.
Okay, so he put you on the.
I love Sarah's tone for the jury, you know. Yeah, but at this point, all you were broken up. So why is he hiring you as his personal assistant? Does that make... Daniel Rashbaum would just be like, does that make any sense? Did you call the police?
Adelson Institute as a favor to a friend,
Yes.
to their
ma'am.
payroll. Okay. The other employees of the Adelson Institute, so though they said that, you didn't work there. So
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
why you're saying that you worked remotely, you worked at home. That's your
Yes,
testimony?
ma'am.
Okay. And Charlie Adelson, we hear him in the recording saying, oh, you clean the office on the weekends, but you're telling us you actually did not do that,
No, ma'am.
right? Okay.
It's so funny in the calls between Katie and Charlie post bump when they're on the phone trying to act like nothing suspicious is going on. It's the worst cover ever. They're going, well, you're not going to quit working for us, are you? You're not going to go away, are you, from all your wonderful duties?
So why didn't you go into the office? Why were you working from home? Like, what was so different about you?
What was so different about me?
Mm-hmm.
My whole purpose was to get insurance for my kids. I didn't like, whenever he asked me to do some stuff, like I would do it. Like I told you, the site, and I can't recall a lot of the things from 2014. That's why I don't know how to really answer your question.
Well, as his remote personal assistant, I mean, what exactly did you do for him?
Only 11 likes in the channel, Leah, on the video. Hey guys, remember to like the video early on. You're going to be here in a couple of hours, so get those likes stacking up. The likes have been stacked and they're in the like vault. Okay, get them going, guys.
You said earlier you set up appointments for him,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And you looked at rental places for him?
Yes, ma'am. He had owned properties, and like he was.
Yeah, man. Charlie's not the maestro anymore, but he is the new jailhouse champion at Kaplunk. He can play Kaplunk like you've never seen someone play Kaplunk. The tactics, incredible.
Was telling me to collect from those property,
Okay.
from the properties.
So
that
let's
he
take
had.
those one by one, setting up
ma'am.
appointments. Did you actually schedule any patients?
No, not scheduled patients on the thing. It's for the site, like his website.
So you did not schedule patients?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What appointments did you set up for him?
No, I can't recall.
Okay. What?
I can't believe how unprepared she is. Does she realize that she's taking the stand in her own defense for the charge of first-degree murder? You'd think you'd want to prep for that, right? You think your lawyer might say, okay, let's run through this as if I'm the prosecutor. What job did you do? Appointment. The website. It's probably like he said, oh, I need to get a website. And she said, oh, I know someone. And then called that guy once,
Type of appointments if they weren't scheduling patients?
I can't recall.
You don't know what type of appointments you set
No,
up for
ma'am.
him? Okay, but you did not schedule patients.
Not that I can recall.
So
no.
it wouldn't have been for his work as a dentist.
I'm kind of getting confused about your question.
His work as a dentist was he did dental work on patients,
Yeah,
right?
I can't recall the patients that I've called or which ones I've scheduled back in 2014.
I'm not asking you for specifics. I'm just saying, what type of appointments did you set up for him if you didn't schedule patients? What
I
other
told
types
you
of
I didn't-
appointments?
I didn't do the appointments. I did it for the site. Like his appointments with other, like if other things that.
Damn you with these baseball references, Rabbit. I did go to a baseball game once, the Blue Jays. It went on for ages. I think it was a double header as well. It was like, what? How is this fun? Like, we're just watching them walk back and forth.
He needed to do, not for patients in the office.
Okay, so you were not scheduling patients. You were not, this isn't the office website you're talking about?
Yes, the office website.
Okay, what type of appointments are you putting on the office website that are not patients?
He just needed to, well, like to take the pictures for his office and his website.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was setting up the appointment for.
You set up an appointment for him to get his website done
Yes.
by a company that does websites.
Yes, like my friend that was doing the website. Yes.
That is the appointment that you set up
Yes,
for him.
ma'am.
Okay, and that is one appointment you're saying that you
That
set up
I
for
can
him.
remember. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. And so you earned over $800 a month, over $17,000 over the course of a year and a half for setting up one appointment with him one time to get his website set up.
I don't remember all of the specifics of stuff that he's asked me to do.
Okay, that's the only one that you can think of.
That, I mean, like right now, yes.
Okay, well, your defense is that you're not involved in this murder, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you said it seems like Charlie Adelson is, obviously, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
And your children's father obviously is too, right? And you're caught in the middle of it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and if you're collecting money from Charlie Adelson for no legitimate purpose, that looks suspicious. It looks like he's paying you for, or keeping you happy for your part in this murder, doesn't it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, if you're doing something to earn those payments, then that no longer would seem suspicious, right?
Well, I just don't understand.
Actually, Hugh Hefner, I believe banana bread is kosher. And I think actually when Moses descended from Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments engraved on a huge tablet, he also had half a slice of banana bread. If you look at some of the early artwork, you can see the crumbs on his robes.
And when it's like, you're talking about like the checks, right?
Right, if you're doing something to earn that money, that would no longer seem suspicious.
I'm not understanding your question.
My question is, you're telling this jury that you did something you set up some type of appointments for him, but it was not scheduling patients. The only thing that you can tell us today that you ever set up for him, though, is one time you
That I can
called a
recall.
website company to have his website, him to have an appointment with him for them to set up his website. Isn't that true?
That I can recall, yes, ma'am. Okay.
And in that message, that's one of the ones that your attorney showed you it was an investigator Isom when he was on the stand the other day.
Yes, ma'am.
That was actually in August of 2014. That was a month before you started getting paychecks from the Adelson Institute, wasn't it?
What was the message?
About, hey, I called this person and he'll do your website. That was in August of 2014, wasn't
That's
it?
what the text message showed.
Okay, so that was before you ever received a paycheck from the Adelson Institute, wasn't it?
July, August,
If August is before September.
I believe so.
Okay. Did you keep up with his schedule? I mean, you'd have to know his schedule to be able to schedule patients, right? Or to set up appointments for him, I mean.
That's what you keep talking about, like these appointments. I can't remember things that I was doing back in 2014.
I'm not asking
I didn't
any
have like a
specifics.
schedule
Right.
of his like daily activities and stuff. So I would just call him or he would call me if he needed me to do something.
Okay. Did you keep up with him though and his schedule in order to be able to make appointments for him?
Keep up with him, like see what his other
Know what's
appointments were.
going on with him. My boss is here today, he's there today, he's on vacation today, he's working this week. You would have to know his schedule in order to be able to set up appointments
I
for
don't
him,
know
right?
his definitive schedule at that time, but I mean, like I told you, he would just text me if he needed me to do something.
Okay, and how often would that be?
I don't recall.
Okay. I mean,
She doesn't recall much, does she? I can remember things that happened in 2014. You know, I can remember things that happened 10 years ago. More. You know, landmark things like, well, just important things, you know? Man, I've got to stop saying, you know. It's a vocal tic, and it's awful, you know?
you would have some idea. You would have some idea of what's going on with his work schedule if your job that you're getting paid $800 a month for is to set up appointments for him, right?
Like I said, I don't know how often he would text me. Whenever he would text me and he would ask me to do something, then I would do it. It was like odd jobs. It wasn't a specific, oh, call this patient or do this.
Okay. I mean, isn't it true you had no idea what was going on with his schedule to set up any type of appointment for him or his work,
I
right?
would just text him and be like, okay, are you going to be free for this, X, Y, and Z if I needed to, but not that I can recall.
X, Y, and Z, guys. We've cracked the case. What did you do for Charlie specifically? Well, X, Y, and Z. Odd jobs. What?
I want to ask you about this text from October 2014, which is a month after you started collecting paychecks from your Adelson Institute. You send a message to him where you say, how are you, by the way? How's work? In your love life? Didn't you say that?
That's what it text said.
Okay. The following year, you say, hey, I was going to text you, but you know, I never know if you're on vacation or not at work. Didn't you say that?
That's what the text showed, yeah.
I bet he loved getting that message. How are you, by the way? How's work? How's your love life? Brackets. I would like you to give me attention, and can you be giving me attention now? You know, that just inflates his ego to the size of a hot air balloon.
The following month, you text him and you say, and this is December in 2015, and you're getting checks from the Adelson Institute. So how's work? How's your office? So
Okay.
that's you did.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you were working as a personal assistant, making that money, only set up the one appointment that you can think of, and you're having to check in with him. How's work? How's your love life? What's going on with you? You're not keeping up with his schedule either, are you?
Like I said, I didn't have his definitive schedule of what he does. He needs help and he needs to text me and needs me to do something. He'll text me and let me.
Remember, guys, we've got a dwindling down buzzer on tonight's show. Every time she says dwindling down, our relationship dwindles down. We have to ring the buzzer or buzz the buzzer.
Do something.
Well, you also said that you helped him with tenants of his properties.
Yes.
What did you do with the properties?
He had a couple properties at that time. I don't remember what location or where it is, but he had asked.
Matt Tailmina, no, she's been advised by her lawyer not to watch, and she has to stay singularly focused on looking after the boys right now during this difficult time, okay? Their favorite uncle is behind bars for the rest of his life, and sweet Lady Donna is all banged up, going nuts, eating her own mattress.
Asked me to collect like the tenant's payment, the monthly payment. And like they had like washers and dryers there too, and like you'd have to open it up and like get like whatever coins are in there.
Okay, so you collected rent from these tenants?
Yes.
Hey, Rabbit, it's every once in a while. Come on, Rabbit. You know that, Rabbit.
Do you want me to look? Okay.
So I want to ask you about a prior statement that you made. I just gave you a transcript of that particular
Hey, Averill Mayor. How you doing? Good to see you again.
day.
Yes, ma'am.
Looking at page 58,
Got it?
line 22 through 25.
Okay.
Okay. When you were asked in October of 2019, would you be responsible for collecting rent? You said initially he wanted me to try to collect rent, but those tenants were so difficult, so I just didn't do it. Isn't that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you didn't actually collect rent.
No, he wanted me to collect it. Well, obviously here it says that I didn't.
Right. And today, though, you're saying that you did.
I said I did, but obviously here on the printed record, that's shown to be false. So, whoops. I just made myself look really bad in front of the jury of 12 of my peers, didn't I? Yeah, I guess I should have sat out that 18th round of Kaplunk and had a look at my file. Whoops.
I said he wanted me to collect. I don't even remember what I just said.
Right. I just asked you if you collected rent and you said you did.
Well,
And that was a lie, wasn't it?
I just said I didn't in this testimony.
Okay. And if you said that you collected rent from him today, and you previously said that you did not collect rent from his tenants, he wanted you to do it, but you never did it. That's a lie, right?
I should have told you to refresh my memory instead of saying that.
Okay. Was that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's so funny when her eyes go over to the defense table as well to you know, see Tara Kawass just hand planting her forehead like, oh my God, we're losing this, aren't we? This is going terrible. Sarah Dugan's really good. I should have prepped my client more. She's so doesn't know what she's doing. She's just admitted to lying. There was a way out of that didn't need her to admit that she's lying. Let's just see that again. That was a checkmate move.
I should have told you.
Today, and you previously said that you did not. That was a lie, wasn't it?
I just said I didn't in this testimony.
Okay. And if you said that you collected rent from him today, and you previously said that you did not collect rent from his tenants, he wanted you to do it, but you never did it. That's a lie, right?
I should have told you to refresh my memory instead of saying that.
Okay. Was that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That was bad, wasn't it? That was really bad.
Why did he do this favor for you? To give you over $17,000 over the course of a year and a half from him and his parents' business.
I needed to do it for the.
Yeah, but Matt, maybe she was counting on her second jury having 11 members with purple hair. 11 purple hair, anti-government activists. Yeah, that's what Josh Dubin should select and look for every time he goes in to get a jury fixed up, you know. Okay, do they have purple hair? No? Okay, next. Purple hair? Okay, you're in.
Insurance for my kids, and I had to put it on a bracket so that I can apply for that.
I understand why you needed it. Why would he do that for you? That's my question.
Because he had a business.
God, Sarah Dugan sounds like a sort of woodland animal that's hunting a smaller woodland animal. I understand why you wanted it. My question is, why would he do that for you? It sounds so, it's like just her voice and tone is like a twisting, jagged knife or a bottle in the face.
insurance for my kids, and I had to put it on a bracket so that I can apply for that.
I understand why you needed it. Why would he do that for you? That's my question.
If he had a business.
So good for the jury. You know, if ever there was a way to make something digestible and have the jury lean in the direction that you want them to, that's it. I understand why you wanted it. Fantastic.
Yes, he had that office.
Right, but you're not doing a service for him though, right? You only set up the one appointment and you didn't actually collect rents from the tenants. So why would he do this for you if you're not actually earning that money?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
I asked him for that favor for the insurance.
I understand why you needed it.
I don't know.
My question is, why did he do it for you?
I don't know, ma'am.
Isn't it because he's keeping you happy because you did a really big favor for him in July of 2014?
No, ma'am.
And you did hang that over his head though sometimes, didn't you?
Hang what over?
The fact that you had done a really big favor for him.
Not that I could recall.
Here, this is part of the conversation you're gonna have with him. You say, I know you're gonna do it. Every time I speak to you, it's like you have an attitude. I know you're overwhelmed by everything that you're doing. This is in April 2015. Don't worry about it. I'll just ask him myself. And then you send him a website. And then
Yeah, Rabbit, the defendant on the stand, Rabbit says the defendant on the stand testifying and loses their credibility. Wow, bad move. That'll blow any chance of appeal. I think Katie might, you know, if she hadn't have testified in this second trial, would it have been a different situation? I think she would have been better off. She really tore down any chance of any one of the jury members like imagining that she's not culpable, right? She really sealed her fate with this testimony, especially the cross, of course. But even the direct was poor.
then you say, that's the website. Next time, don't be so sick. Right?
Okay.
What did you do for him?
I don't know what he was referring to.
I mean, you weren't doing much of anything for him, right? He was the one giving you all this money.
And I told you it was I did the whole purpose for that was for the insurance for my children.
I know, but my point is he hadn't done anything for you. You were the one he was the one paying you the money. You weren't doing anything for him. He was doing everything for you, right?
He was doing that as a favor for me.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about here? That's something that you've done for him.
Do you have the rest of the text? Because that's just like a portion.
It doesn't say that day. You're just talking about he's being mean to you and you're saying, don't be such a dick to someone who's done something for you.
Yeah, I don't know what I was referring to.
Okay. And that favor, you say it was to get insurance, and you're talking about Medicaid is what you were trying to get?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you get insurance through Medicaid, I mean, the taxpayers are paying for that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. That's all of us,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people need Medicaid. It's a serious thing, right?
Ma'am.
Okay. But you were getting Medicaid at the same time that you were paying thousands and thousands of dollars in cash for a boob job, right?
Well,
Oh, the jury's just going to love that, isn't it? What? We paid her medical bills and she had the money and spent it on new tits? Oh my God. Yeah. Sailing down the river now, Katie.
I've already saved up for that. That was a long-term, like for the insurance was a long-term for my son because he has a disability.
I understand you said that, but I'm just saying.
I think Medicaid might cover boob reduction if you're a large busted lady. You can say that you have chronic back pain because of carrying the heavy loads, plural. But in Katie's case, I think she just wanted bigger, rounder tits.
You
And I
were
do-
getting Medicaid at the same time that you were paying thousands and thousands of dollars in cash for a boob job, right?
That I've saved up for, yes, ma'am.
Okay. You say you saved up for it, but you had a habit of depositing money into the bank. We saw all your cash deposits by day, and you deposit, sometimes multiple deposits every day in the bank of different cash in different banks.
Yes, ma'am.
In cash. Okay. So you make all those deposits in cash every day, sometimes at different banks, multiple times a day, right?
At different banks.
Can you imagine her thinking, okay, I've just received all this cash, thousands and thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, right? In this stapled money that's going moldy. So I better put it in the bank. But if I put it all in the bank at once, that'll be easily traced. So I know what I'll do is I'll go to multiple banks and deposit different smaller amounts. And I'll do that all on the same day, because no bank would communicate with another bank or the IRS or the FBI. It's just how these people get into this mess when they haven't even got the basics covered. Oh, if we all get burner phones, that'll mean the FBI won't know where we are. Okay, guys. Well, this isn't TV, okay? This isn't some shitty TV show that's just made up, okay? The FBI have ways to get you, okay?
At the same day.
Yeah, you deposit a lot of cash in the bank. You do it sometimes, it's not just like a once a month thing. You do it almost daily. Sometimes you do it at multiple
Hi, Kim. Good to see you.
different banks in a day.
If that's what the records show, I don't remember what I was doing at that
But
time.
you're saying for this particular breast augmentation, you did not deposit that money. You kept that at home.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it was just all the other money that you had, you deposited in the bank, except for that.
I've already saved up for my breast augmentation.
So that's a yes. You
Okay.
deposited all your other money into the bank except for the cash for the breast augmentation.
Whenever I would have money with me and I would, from working from the club, then I would save up and then I'd deposit whatever I had.
Charlie Adelson, he also gave you other gifts, right? Besides just, that wasn't the only benefit being on the Adelson Institute payroll. I mean, he paid for a trip to Santo Domingo for you, right?
And the kids?
Okay, and that's the Dominican Republic, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and that was in 2015 after you and Charlie Adelson broke up?
If that's what the record shows, I don't remember what date it was.
Okay.
Just a reminder to put a like on the video, guys. The more the better. The more the merrier. The more full the boat is, the faster it sails, okay?
And he also offered to send you and your mom a cruise, right?
Where am I looking
In
at?
October of 2015.
Because I didn't go on a cruise with my mom, so.
Okay, you're talking.
Hugh Hefner says she could have had her boobs put in her back. This raises an interesting point. All these plastic surgeries that go on, right? Why don't we ever see someone being kind of artistic? Instead of enhancing the boobs you've already got, just add 2 new ones and keep the old ones as well. So you've got 4. Yeah, we could be so creative with technology today. They could put a boob right on top of your head. Wouldn't that be nice? No need for pillows anymore. I have a boob right there. The pillow is with me everywhere I go.
Talking to him about talking to him about, he says, where do you want to take your mom? You say, I want to do something for my mom. Let me see if she has days off on Thanksgiving. He says, so I think it would be super cool for you to go, just you and your mom, Friday through Monday on the Norwegian cruise. Does that work for you?
Hi, Teresa, luck of the Irish. Pint of Guinness.
Let's look at dates, right?
I guess so.
And some cold cannon while you're at it.
Oh, but I never went on a cruise with my mom, so.
And he says, do you want me to get a cruise for you and your mom in 2015?
I guess so, but I never went on a cruise with my mom.
Okay, that's not what I asked. He offered to buy you and your mom.
If that,
Yeah, Katie got life plus 30 years, DJ Miller. You're absolutely correct.
that's what was
Consecutive.
on the text, then yes.
He would also give you cash.
Oh, Donna's got a hearing tomorrow. Did I know that? I must have forgotten that. Fantastic. That's going to be good. We know what we're covering tomorrow, guys. That.
Sometimes you would text him, ask for help, ask for loans, you needed cash.
So subscribe to the channel, everybody who hasn't already, and leave a goddamn like on that video, will you?
That's what the text says.
Well, he would give you cash, right?
If you can show me the text message.
Okay. In May of 2015, you say, by the way, I have a shitload of things to pay for. I need a little help. This tuition is back for summer. I have to stop my weekend job. I hate asking. He says, I'll lend you whatever you need. You say it's just tight this month. And that's on May 20th of 2015, right?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry. It's loud.
Okay. And then you look at state exhibit 81B. All your daily cash deposit $1,400 in cash, right?
That's what the record shows.
Okay. So you ask them for help and you give you cash. Isn't that true?
That's what the record shows.
Who is Sully?
That's the mechanic.
Okay. So Sully, and your attorney was asking earlier about a Sully Mech, M-E-C-H. That was in Charlie Adelson or Sigfredo's call list, right?
Yes,
Sully is a mechanic. Mech is the first four letters of mechanic, right?
ma'am.
Okay. And how did you find out about Sully?
That was somebody that Charlie used for his mechanic.
Charlie referred you to Sully.
Every time they say Sully, I think about the John Goodman character from Monsters, Inc. That big blue guy.
To fix cars when you were having car trouble, right?
Yeah, when like if the Lexus was having issues or like my Mazda was having issues.
Right. And so you got the Lexus fixed with Sully, right? And your Mazda.
Did I get it? Yeah,
fixed.
he's fixed it. He's fixed it before.
Okay. And Sully is the mechanic for Eco-Friendly Shop.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the name of the.
Little update on the travel plans, guys. I went to an airline, what do you call it? Buy your airline ticket today. And I found a flight to Tallahassee that's going to take 48 hours. I got to go from Faro to Dublin to Toronto to Fort Lauderdale to Tallahassee. Can you imagine that? But that's the cheapest one. And I went on to the Esther website as well. I'm probably going to fill that. Actually, I've got to do some work this week. I've got a few days. I've just been building the studio out for the last couple of weeks, but yeah, I got to get back to it. Start bringing in some cash to pay for this goddamn ticket. So I might not get round to completing the Esther this week, but come the weekend, we're going to. So yeah, I'm keen to see the case management hearing for Donna, because if I book a ticket and go to all that planning, to come over to cover her trial and it's postponed or something. Can you imagine? I guess that's always a risk, right? So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens in the case management, and hopefully I'll be able to find a flight that's not 48 hours long in 5 different airports. Oh God, but it'll be worth it. You know, I'll do it.
Body shop.
You brought the body shop.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you got work done with Sully, Charlie Adelson would pay for it.
No, I believe I paid for the, unless you have a text that shows otherwise, but I paid for payments for the Lexus getting fixed because it kept breaking down on me.
Okay. And your Mazda broke down a couple of times, right?
I believe so, yeah, because I
Okay.
got in a car accident.
At least some of these times, though, Charlie paid for it.
I don't know, Rabbit. It's still 1,200 euros. You know, it's not a budget ticket. There's a lot of waiting. There's like a 12-hour wait in Dublin, an 8-hour wait in Toronto, and Fort Lauderdale's pretty quick, actually, 3 hours. But I didn't know that it's a 2-hour flight almost from Fort Lauderdale to Tallahassee. I thought it was an hour.
I don't know which times, but if you have the text message for it.
Right. Here in October, he's saying, I just got a call with Sully for you. I just spoke to Sully. It needs to be done. It has to be done in Mazda. He said it should be about 1,200. You're, upset that it's 1,200. He says, I'll pay it for you, smiley face. And that was in October 2015.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I was trying to read what was like after the.
Actually, DJ Miller, the last time I flew to Toronto, I was just walking around the plane a couple of hours in, and I poked my head round the curtain for first class, and I saw there were several empty seats. So I just went and sat down in there. No one said anything. I have my own personal chef, no menus. He just said, tell me what you want, and I'll prepare it. We have everything. Friggin', he didn't need to pay for anything. No, all the wine was free, choice of wine, not just a choice between red and white. You could choose between a Napa Valley Merlot or an Australian Shiraz. It was fantastic. Full seat. I even had those little packs, little Air Canada pack for your nice face creams and a gel mask, eye mask thing, big TV. It was fantastic. Yeah. $10,000 ticket that was, and I just went and sat in there for most of the flight for like 7 hours. How about that, huh?
The text
No
message.
problem. That's after you got back together with Sigfredo Garcia.
Of 2015.
Right.
Yeah, I believe I was already with him.
Okay. And Sigfredo Garcia would drive the Lexus too, right?
But actually, when we were coming in, starting the descent to come into land at Toronto Pearson, I realized that I'd left my bag in the overhead, what do you call it? Overhead locker at the back of the plane. And I thought, oh man, okay, if I go back to the seat, it's going to take ages to get off the plane. So I've got to go and get my bag and somehow get back into first class. And I did.
Every now and then.
Okay.
We'd switch sometimes.
And whenever the Lexus had a problem, y'all would take it to Sully at Eco-Friendly Shop because that's the mechanic that Charlie had referred to you.
Well, there was also another mechanic that I think I was trying to use for the Lexus, but since Sully's been working on the Lexus, like we've taken it over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, Paul M., in Yindra Velasquez Mascaro's interview with Judy from AA Legal Focus, Yindra was of the opinion that the reason Katherine Magbana was stuck to this strategy of I'm not going to admit anything is because she was worried that Charlie would harm her kids or her family and that sort of stuff. That was Yindra's opinion, not necessarily my opinion, but that's what was said in the interview.
He's also called in prescriptions for you, right? Charlie
Who
has,
has?
as a
I b-
favor?
I
We're talking about the
believe he
favors. We
has.
talked about the trip to Santo Domingo, offering you and your mom a cruise, the car repairs. He also called in a prescription for you, right? Called in prescriptions in the past?
Prescriptions?
Right.
I guess so. I don't recall that such a long time ago.
Okay. Do you remember him paying for a catered fit meal service for you?
If you can refresh my memory,
You don't remember that?
can't remember.
All right. And then he also gave you cash.
For
When you
what?
would ask him for help or ask him for loans, he would give you cash.
Do you have any text messages that show?
I just showed you the one
Oh,
about,
well, for that one, yes.
right. Okay. And those things that I was showing you, all of those things in 2015, that's after you and Charlie Adelson broke up.
I believe so.
And you heard June say, you were here during trial, that after they broke up, they were together for 7 years. He didn't give her any gifts like that. What makes you so special that he's giving you these gifts after he broke up
I
with
think
you?
she did mention she was getting gifts from
He
him.
said a little something, not a trip, cash,
You looked into
car
her records?
repairs. No, I'm asking
Oh.
you, what was so special?
Mrs. D, I just don't know how to answer that question. I used to have an actual career, several different ones over time. Now, yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag, really. But I'll get back to you on that, Mrs. D.
About you that he's giving you all
I
these
don't know,
gifts after
ma'am.
you broke up.
I don't know that. But you're referring that you had records for her too.
No, I'm asking you why you were so special
I
that he's
understood
giving
your
you the
question.
gifts, and you don't know?
I
Wow, Donegal. Yeah, I know about Donegal. That's a wild place I'd love to be. Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I've never been to Donegal. I've been to a few places in Ireland, but never Donegal. Fantastic. Do you like Christy Moore?
don't know.
So not just to keep you happy, keep you quiet?
No.
All right, so we saw in the financial records that you had a big cash spike
Yes, ma'am.
in August of
DJ Miller, I'm in southern Portugal, Algarve, and it's 3 minutes before midnight.
2014. Where did this money come from?
Oh, well, it was showing, I believe when Chris was talking about it, there's like jobs that you guys didn't account for.
Where were you working in July 2014?
I don't know if I was in Fate or Hollywood Live, but I know that like my jobs were, and I've told you before that Sigfredo has given me cash.
Yindra says you were not at Hollywood Live in July 2014. She said she quit in July 2014 and you had quit 2 months before. So you weren't at Hollywood Live in July 2014, were you?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. And she said, you said actually today, you worked at Fate and then you went to Hollywood Live, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, who wrote that? Paul M. I think the Adelsons paid for her defense. Yeah, for sure. I think that's why Katie's brother is being called upon to be a witness in Donna's trial. The question will go something like this. It will be like, Francis Magbanua, did Donna Adelson call you and tell you to tell your sister to keep her fucking mouth shut and she'll pay? Something like that.
So where were you working in
Well,
July 2014?
I believe it was Fate, Hollywood Live, and I think Fate after that, like because there was a little bit of a gap between the Fate and like me being in Fate.
Where were you working in July of 2014?
I don't recall where I was working.
Okay, so you can't tell us anywhere you were working.
Not that I know.
If were
Do you have any
working-
records of where I was?
No, I don't. And now I'm asking, where were you working?
I don't recall. That was back in 2014. I don't recall.
Where did this money come from?
I don't recall where I was working or if Secreto gave me money on 2014.
You don't remember whether it was money that you earned or money that he gave you?
No, ma'am.
I mean, this is over twice, $13,200 in August of 2014. That's over twice the amount of money that of the most you've ever deposited before that in those 3 years.
I wish I could remember, but I don't know where from 2014.
Twice as much money, over twice as much money as any
I-
other month.
I wish I could remember. I don't even remember what I did yesterday.
You don't remember depositing $13,200 in your account in August of 2014.
No, ma'am.
You don't remember depositing $17,000 from the day of Dan Martel's murder to the end of August 2014.
No, ma'am. When I look at the records that you guys,
I think she just borrows Tara Kawass's clothes. They have such a similar style. Even in one of the testimonies when they ask, I think it's Georgia Kappelman asks Jessica Rodriguez, that's the ex-baby mama of Luis Rivera, when she's on the stand, is Miss Magbanua in the courtroom today, Miss Rodriguez? Yes. And can you point her out and describe what she's wearing? Okay, she's on the table over there wearing a black suit and white shirt and glasses. And Georgia Kappelman looks over and says, well, we've got 2 of those because Katie and Tara are in exactly the same outfit. There's so many little funny moments in these trials, man.
it's crazy. Even when I see how you guys put it and make it out to be like on my
Yeah, all good here, Kaza. Good to see you. 2 sugars.
account.
Wouldn't that be a memorable thing for you if all of a sudden
Exactly, it
you
would
got
be.
over twice the amount of money you would normally have?
That would definitely be memorable.
I mean, before July of 2014, you hadn't deposited $5,000 even close since January of 2013, over a year and a half before.
Ma'am, I wish I knew and I could recall and remember, but I don't.
And then over the course of these 3 months, you've got over 5,000 here, over 13,000 here, over 5,000 again here, and you're saying you have no memory of depositing that money or any idea where it came from.
I don't have a recollection.
And you don't think that's something that you would remember?
I would remember that, but I don't have any recollection of that date. I don't know
I'm
what,
not talking about one specific date. I'm talking about those couple
I
of
know
months.
you were saying those months, but I
Right.
remember when we were doing the chart, there was jobs that I was working and I don't remember where I was working, what exact month, and I told you I've gotten cash from Secreto before.
Okay, you can't tell us though anywhere you were working in July of 2014.
I can't remember. I can't
Okay,
recall.
and when you're talking about this money from Sigfredo,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm glad, Mrs. D. I'm glad that we've seen Sarah Dugan do this and do it so well, because I might be wrong on this, guys, but it seems to me over the course of these trials that Sarah Dugan usually handles the more kind of scientific witnesses, like the detective who's explaining the cell tower usage, or the medical examiner, something with paperwork and numbers. She kind of goes through that, and Georgia handles the more, what do you call it? I don't know, social kind of witnesses, if you know what I mean. And you know, Sarah did kind of fumble. Did she do the opening statement for Charlie's trial? Or was that Katie's second trial? She did one of the opening statements, and there were a couple of like mistakes that worried me when I first saw them. Georgia wouldn't have made those mistakes. And you'll notice that it's you know, Georgia handle if things are getting tight, like if Rashbaum starts jumping up and down like a chimpanzee with a bad bladder, you know, starts banging his big file on the desk or something, tripping over his own tie, Georgia steps in and takes the reins. And I think that's appropriate, but it's fantastic to see Sarah Dugan do such a viciously good job at this cross-examination. It's brutal. It's brutal.
You said he didn't steadily give you cash. It was just whenever he had it, he'd show up with it.
Yes, ma'am.
How much were you making at Fate Nightclub?
I don't recall. You can refresh my memory.
What? You didn't say today. How much did you?
I mean, from my testimony?
Well, how much do you remember making at Fate Nightclub?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
How much did you make at Hollywood Live?
I don't recall.
Were you making thousands per night?
I believe I was making more in Fate. I don't know how much exactly. I don't want to commit to like an amount, but I was making more in Fate Nightclub than Hollywood.
Looking at page 36, lines 22 and 23.
Okay.
In your prior testimony, you said that a good night for you, you would walk out of there at $1,000 to $1,500.
Welcome, Lee and Amory Cat Lady and T Cancella. Good to see you guys in the chat.
Isn't that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you said that you would work there sometimes 2 times a week? On the next page, page
yeah.
37?
Yeah.
That's what you said back in 2019?
Yes, ma'am.
And you gave that testimony that you would walk out of Fate with between $1,000 and $1,500 a night. And
good point, Lee. This is quite number orientated and paperwork orientated, isn't it? That's Sarah's bag, but she's coupling it with this 300-pound pressure bite around Katie's ankles, the kind of bite that could just take you down to the floor, you know?
That was before Ramsey Neighbor was a witness in this case. Isn't that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was before we had Ramsey Neighbor to come in here and say, the club was not successful. It did not work. My employees were not making that much.
It was successful when that was happening, because even like his time frame of like, he was talking about like it being a hip hop club and then it became like a trans whatever club, but in hip hop nights, we were making a lot of money.
No, he said that his employees made between $200 and $250 a night every time they work. So why are you saying back then that you made $1,000 to $1,500?
Because we were making that much money.
Yeah, Lee. Lee says she doesn't know what illusion that Katie was under, thinking that she could repeatedly say, I don't recall, I don't remember that far back, and the jury would buy that crap. Oh, it's just terrible preparation. You know, Tara Kawass sold Katie on, you've got to say that your relationship was dwindling down, and you've got to say that, you know, it's not reasonable for you to remember what happened 8 years ago, and blah, 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 blah. Well, you would remember. This is a really important occasion. I can remember things that were important that happened years and years ago. If I had to give testimony in my defense in a murder trial, I'd make sure I remembered. not spend my time playing Kaplunk.
We were.
Okay. We have a paycheck from Fate where it says that you made $985 for a whole month of your tips.
Yeah,
don't
that
we?
was the credit card tips. So
Right.
There's whenever you work in the nightclubs, if they pay cash, like whatever the tips are, that's like your money. When it's credit card, then that's when they do like the percentage, and then that's why we got that percentage for the month. Like, I guess they added everything up for the whole month.
I understand. Ramsey Neighbor says that 90% of their sales was in credit cards.
No, it wasn't.
It's credit card sales. Well, that's what he testified to, right?
I understand that. That's why we wanted to get those records so that it could show it, but they didn't have the records available.
If you were making $1,500 in cash every night at Club,
I agree, T. Cancella. In fact, I think every lawyer that's based in Miami that comes up to Tallahassee just has this total disconnect with morality and the sense of what's appropriate in this environment. They just, it's almost like they're a different complete country or something. Miami and Tallahassee, it's different worlds. I don't know why they keep bringing these lawyers up from Miami. It's so inappropriate in this setting. And Georgia and Sarah have got this by the balls.
Fate, why were you making only $985 in credit card tips then?
That was the percentage. I can't recall how much the percentage was. So every single time in the month that they would collect all the percentages from the credit cards, that's the check that we would get.
If you were making $1,500 a night in Club Fate, why were their checks bouncing if they were that successful?
When it's cash, when the patrons pay cash, and it's a hip hop club,
they're paying their cash
yes,
to the club for the drinks, right?
Yes, and then whatever our tip out is,
I understand that that's money that you can keep. I understand that. I'm saying, why were your checks bouncing from Fate if you were making $1,500 there every time you worked?
Speculation.
Overruled.
I can't recall why the.
Okay, it's plug time, guys. Just a reminder to leave a like on the video to everyone new in the chat. Leave a like on the video, helps us out, helps the algorithm out. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be covering Donna's case management hearing tomorrow. She's appearing on Zoom, but it should be interesting and it'll give us some valuable information before we book our tickets to Tallahassee to come cover her trial live from Leon County Courthouse, right? So also, guys, if you'd like to donate to the channel and help us out to get that ticket, you can leave a like, or no, not a like. Do leave a like, but also leave a super chat, super sticker, super like, super thanks. And there's also a link to buymeacoffee.com in the description for this video where you can make a donation and help the channel and help us come over to Tallahassee Courthouse so we can be there in person, covering Donna Adelson live, bringing it to you live, and everything else, right? Wouldn't that be amazing, guys? What a dream come true. What else can we say? What else can we say? Subscribe to the channel. Loads more content coming out. Loads more Adelson content coming out. We're just rolling out the Adelson content at the moment, guys. And it's like, it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? Because we're not even close to halfway through. We're not even close to 15% through. We're probably about 14.1% through the content that we've got available to us for the Adelson case alone. But we're not just covering the Adelson case. We've got Russell Williams coming out. We've got Sarah Boone's trial coming up. We've got, what else? We've got a long, long list of great cases to get through. And we keep getting more and more requests. If you want to have a request, you can join us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, or email us at the Gmail address truecrimemetrics@gmail.com. If you have any ideas, want to speak to us directly, or anything else, feel free to reach out. And all donations welcome, guys, to help support the channel, help us grow. We're on a very good trajectory at the moment, just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. We've had about 200 subscribers in the last 4 days. That's really good, isn't it? Isn't that really, really good? I thought it would take a lot longer to get where we are now, if we ever got there at all. And it's just showing no signs of slowing down. We're bringing in the celebrities. Fancy's coming into the chat. Who else is coming into the chat? Big names, big people, big subscribers. Fantastic stuff, guys. Thank you so much. And back to the show.
The checks were bouncing.
It's because Fate was not a successful nightclub, right?
It wasn't
They weren't making
successful.
money.
Even on, like, if you look back and you'll see all the events that they had, we would have artists come in there. It was a very successful nightclub.
Okay, so successful that Yindra says that you left because you were not getting paid.
Because of those bounce checks.
Right.
After a while, whenever you work in clubs, there's times where it's like you're making good money and then it'll kind of die out. That's why we switch from place to place.
I understand that, but you're saying that you made $1,500 in cash per night when you worked at
I understand that, yes.
Right. The owner says it did not take off. It was not successful. They made $200 per shift.
I understand what you're saying.
And your checks were bouncing from there, from what
Your Honor, I'm
in your
gonna
bank
ask
records. Isn't that
objection.
true?
Hold on a second.
If she could let the witness finish answering, I'm
Right,
gonna object to
let's let-
badgering.
Let's let the witness finish the answer. Let's ask a question and then go to an answer. All right, I want people talking over each other. What's the question, Ms. Dugan?
Isn't that true?
I'm trying to explain to you that that's why they needed the records, because it will show on the records how much we were making. We were making a lot of money. I worked there.
Okay. Why would you?
Hey Kim, I think 600 or 700 a night in 1996. I think you'd be safe to say that that was $1,000 of money in 2014, wouldn't you? That's pretty big money for the mid 90s, huh? And good on you.
You leave Fate then, where you're making so much money, and go to Hollywood Live?
I believe I did both, or one kind of overlapped with the other. I can't quite remember.
You said when your attorney was asking you questions that you worked at Fate and then you left and you went to Hollywood Live, and that's what Yindra said too.
And I believe I went back to Fate after that. I can't fully recall, but I know when I was working in Hollywood Live, I was doing bottle service and I was a bartender, and I was making really good money in Hollywood when I was bartending.
Okay. And Yindra said that she told us how much she made per night.
But Yindra was working as a bottle service in that club.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the same amount of money, and I've already explained that before.
So you were working in as a bartender in Hollywood Live? Okay. And how much money were you making a night at Hollywood Live?
I don't recall.
Yeah, Matt says, imagine the millions of dollars this murder cost society. Death benefits, insurance, law enforcement, prosecutors, prisons, transportation. Adelson's scum probably cost society 30 million or more. Absolutely. Minimum. I think I've said 20 before, just for the investigation and trials. $20 million, right? Because it was a huge investigation. It was 2 years before there were any arrests. The logistics of that investigation, all of the material that they had to go through, every bus camera in Tallahassee. But now you've mentioned death benefits, insurance, transportation. Yeah, huge money. Another 10 million there, easy. Maybe enormous amount of money.
Call in that club, but I know that I was making pretty good money because you can work there throughout the week as well whenever they have events as well.
Was it less than Fate or more than Fate that you're making
As a
at Hollywood
bartender?
Live? Yes, whatever you did at Hollywood Live.
It might be a little bit lower than being a bottle service in Fate, but I can't recall this exact amount.
Well, then why did you leave Fate, where you're making $1,500 a night, to go to Hollywood Live, where you would make less?
And that amount of money that it's cost society, if we go back to the Chris Watts case, right? And if we assume that the reason he killed his wife and kids is because he knew that if he divorced Shanann would work it out that he had been cheating on her and, what is the word, gone against the marriage, gone against the marriage agreement, which would give her grounds for him to pay her alimony, child support, all the rest of it. And Chris Watts just looked at the situation and thought, well, if I do divorce her, I'm going to be connected and she's going to take everything I earn for the next 20 years minimum. And I don't want to do that. So I'll just kill everyone. Should society have because that was a huge cost investigation and situation as well, even without a trial. But just I think it's pretty clear that it costs society a lot of money, as well as taking Shanann and Bella and Celeste and Nico out of the picture forever, which I think everyone would agree is a terrible tragedy. So should there be an out? Should society create an out for people like Chris, where they call like a hotline and they say, listen, I'm going to murder my wife and kids if I have to divorce her because I don't want to pay her all my money forever. Should society say, okay, Chris, we'll pick up the bill, Chris. But you have it on your permanent record that you're a family abandoner and that you paid nothing. And every employer that you go to, every relationship that you go to, everyone in your life is gonna see that on your record, Chris. But you will be free and you won't have to pay anything. So if you want to do that, the option's there. Now, it would have been a fraction of the cost to society. I mean, I don't know how much the Chris Watts situation cost, but let's say it's 10 million. 10 million is that's Shanann, Bella, Celeste, Nico paid for forever and some, right? Is it? Say they need, I don't know, 200 grand a year. Is that a lot of money? What do people earn now in the States? I don't know. 200 grand a year. So $1 million would be 5 years. It's 50 years of money. It would cost less money than the recovery of the bodies, the investigation, and all the rest of it that went down in the Chris Watts case, and it would have all been avoided. In this case, for example, 100 grand they got paid to kill Professor Markel. I'm pretty sure that Ruth and Phil would have happily volunteered double that if they could have kept their son alive on planet Earth. You know, the hitmen wanted money. They got 100 grand for killing Professor Markel. Well, if they'd have just called up Ruth and Phil and say, listen, we're thinking of killing Professor Markel for 100 grand. Do you have a better offer? They'd come up with the money, wouldn't they?
And I told you at that time too, that sometimes we have peak seasons and it starts dwindling down, so that maybe that's why I went to Hollywood. I can't recall. This was back in 2014.
This judge hasn't passed away, T. Cancella. This is Judge Wheeler. You're thinking of Henkinson, right? Or is Wheeler dead as well?
You said that you were working in liquor promotions. What's the name of the company that you worked for?
I was trying to remember it. You guys didn't pull any records for that either?
You have bank records from Encore Worldwide and CO. Is that where you worked for liquor promotion?
That was way back. That was way back. I did other promotions for, I believe, Absolute. I cannot think of
what's the name of the
two.
company that you worked for?
I can't recall. I can't recall.
Okay, was it Encore?
Hey, to all our diehard fans out there, I just got a message, a comment on Wendy Talks to Isom Part 3 from our Wendy Talks to Isom Adelson series. By the way, guys, we should probably show you our channel page, right? Why not? For all of those lucky people that haven't discovered our channel page yet. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, there really is no excuse. Look at all that colorful, lovely content. The sweet shop of crime. How much content can there be? Look, this is all in 1 month, guys. We've just been going mad recently with the content. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, a comment, make a like, press like, whatever. YouTube things. So much content. You bet, yeah, but to all our diehard fans out there, we've just got a comment on Wendy Talks to Isom Part 3 that says, look at this. Where is it? Hello and welcome back to shut up. Look, General Isom, question mark, question mark, question mark. They're confused. They don't know what we're talking about, but all of you guys do, don't you? And that's all that matters.
For Nationwide?
One of them, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that was a liquor promotion company that we have here that you worked for from January to December of 2013?
If that's what's on my records, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then what's CO?
I don't recall.
Okay, so then you stopped liquor promotions in December of 2013.
I don't recall the dates.
You said Encore Nationwide was the business that you worked for? Okay, so then if your last paycheck is in December of 2013, that's when you stopped liquor promotion.
Hi, Sue. Good to see you, Sue.
That's right.
If that's what's on your records, I just know that I worked for another liquor promotion, but I don't know if it was Encore as well.
And you said that in certain liquor stores, the owner would allow you to get tips when you handed out drinks.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that you think at the time they gave you paychecks. That's what you said?
At the time, maybe. I honestly cannot recall from 14 at that time too?
2013, yeah.
2013, I can't.
I'm asking you about what your attorney asked you. Is your when you were working at liquor promotions though, you said just sometimes you would get tips if the owner allowed that to happen of
Yes,
the liquor
ma'am.
store.
If that's what I had said, yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, today, you said that this 2014, this cash spike was from your nightclub work and then from Sigfredo Garcia. How much of it was from Sigfredo Garcia?
I can't recall the amount.
You don't remember?
No, ma'am. When you were showing me that chart, I'm telling you, I wish I could remember. I don't remember because you're asking me exact amounts and where I worked and names I can't remember.
He didn't provide you much money that often, right? It wasn't like a steady thing.
And not that I can recall, no.
So
I mean, it's whenever I guess it will come up on something, then he would give it to me.
If he showed up and handed you $5,000, $10,000, $13,200, that's something that you would remember, right? That never happens.
It's not that it never happens. I told you like it would happen. I don't know the exact amount that he would give me. I don't want to commit to an amount that you're trying to tell me. I can't remember back in 2014.
In your prior testimony, you said that he did not, and I'm looking at page 60, lines 18 through 25. You said that he did not steadily give you cash. He did not have a set date that he'd give you anything. Sometimes he would, you were asked, was there ever a time when he'd come to you and your attorney asked, well, would you consider $1,000 a significant amount of cash? You said yes. Would then he give you a significant amount of cash? And you said yes. So you never said in that prior statement that he gave you anything more than $1,000.
Which page number again?
Page 60.
60 and in which line?
Lines 18 through 25.
I just said that there wasn't like a set amount that he had to give me anything.
Right.
It would be whatever he had.
Your attorney asked, did he give, would you consider $1,000 a lot if he would give you $1,000? And you said yes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so $1,000, him coming and giving you $1,000, that would be a lot from him.
For my testimony, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so if he came and gave you $5,000 in July or October, or $10,000 or $13,000 in August, that would be very abnormal.
It wouldn't be abnormal. It would just, I mean, you're trying to say if I could remember that amount?
No, I'm saying that before you said $1,000 would been a significant amount.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if he was giving you more than that, that's something that you would remember. That would be significant, right?
Yes, that would be a significant amount.
But you don't remember. You have no
Don't
idea.
remember.
Isn't it true that the reason that you move on? I want to ask you about this night at Yardbird you told us about.
Yes, ma'am.
In your prior testimony, did you have any indication that Sigfredo Garcia knew you were at dinner there, or knew that you had gone there for dinner?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so Sigfredo Garcia didn't say anything to you that would lead you to believe
That
that
was,
he knew you were at dinner.
yeah, that was the
Yardbird.
first time I mean, not the first.
Yeah, I agree, Matt. Sarah does an excellent job staying focused, even when she needs a minute just to kind of regroup. She sort of started down a line a second ago and said, okay, moving on, and then took a pause. Now, if that were anyone else, that pause would be too long, you know, it would make her look uneasy, but she just handled it really, really well. She handles everything really well. They both do. They're both incredible. What women? They represent everything women can and should be. Strong, fearless, talented, successful, moral, you know, it's just brilliant. Brilliant.
First time this time around, but I heard it through the trial.
Okay, so you had no indications that he knew that.
No, ma'am.
Okay. And the whole July 1st jet ski incident, that was, you said, the same day as the voicemail to Harvey Adelson from Charlie Adelson?
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
sorry, from Sigfredo Garcia.
Yeah, Matt, we'll be working this week. So, you know, I've been on my own schedule recently. So we've been able to live on Tallahassee time, getting used for our plane journey. But yeah, so we might have some more sleep sessions coming up this week if we're streaming.
Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so with this wire, Charlie Adelson gets contacted by his mom. She says she was given paperwork, which turns out to be this article about the murder. She says this TV probably cost $5,000. You agree with me that TV sounds like their code for this murder, right?
Objection, lack of personal knowledge.
Overruled if you know.
I don't know, ma'am.
Then Donna Adelson tells Charlie that it has to do with the two of them, and the man mentioned an ex-girlfriend, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then Charlie calls you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why did he call you?
I have no idea.
Keith, Christina has abandoned us. She hasn't been back since our Nicole Kessinger episode. Are you out there, Christina? Are you watching but not chatting? Come on, we want you back in the chat. We really enjoy your comments. Everyone enjoys your comments, especially me and Soap and everybody.
You don't know?
And I'm not even making fun. I want to see Christina Anderson back in the chat. Come on, guys.
No?
No, ma'am. I don't know if that's before or after, or when he spoke to his mom, or when they mentioned my name, or when he said ex-girlfriend. Like, it's been going round and round. I'm confused myself.
Okay, and you said that,
I'm confused myself. Yeah, we can see that. Confused and a really bad memory, okay? Got it.
in your last testimony, I'm looking at page 154, lines 4 through 9.
Which lines, ma'am?
154,
Uh-huh.
lines 4 through 9.
Yes, I was saying that I'm his last ex-girlfriend.
That's what you said in 2019, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That you were his last ex-girlfriend.
Yes, to my
Okay.
knowledge, yes.
We've had testimony during this trial though, that he's had several girlfriends since you dated, though,
Yeah.
between that and the bump, right?
Yeah, but I was explaining here that I'm his last ex-girlfriend. Like, he was dating June, I think, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know about Whitney, so I was his last ex-girlfriend.
You didn't know about Whitney?
No, I heard about it now.
Wasn't that like his first serious girlfriend after you and him broke up?
I don't know. That's why I'm getting confused, because I'm learning so many things from here that I don't know when I knew that that was his girlfriend, or I knew of that girlfriend. I know about June because she testified over here.
I mean, you knew that he was talking to lots of girls
Yes, ma'am.
and dating lots of girls.
Yes, ma'am.
And you would actually chastise him in the messages about like him dating so many girls, moving them into his house, letting them drive his cars, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you would check in with him about these girls. So you would say, you know, are you still talking to this girl, right?
I might have mentioned it, but just to say it, you'd have to show me.
Okay.
In December of 2015, you say, are you still talking to the lame chick, the girl who's hot and is really not? And you said yes, or are you still seeing her?
Yeah, but I don't know which one that is.
Okay, I guess my point is,
You know that you knew that you were not his last ex-girlfriend.
To my knowledge, I was his last ex-girlfriend because he was dating June.
Mhm.
Didn't really know. I didn't know about Whitney. I don't know if I've learned it from trial, but I was his last ex-girlfriend. If he was dating June and he dated me, I'm his last ex-girlfriend.
But by your own admission in the wiretap call, you say you've had a million ex-girlfriends, right?
I understand that, but I'm saying I'm his last ex-girlfriend. We're talking about this.
Right. But you and him had broken up in the fall of 2014. And this bump is in the spring of 2016, right? You'd been together with Sigfredo Garcia again for a year at that point, at the time of the
At
bump.
that point, okay.
Right. He had dated tons of girls in between that, right?
I believe so.
Okay. You were not his last ex-girlfriend then.
But I'm saying from the timeline from June, like June, the girl June,
Right.
I was his last ex-girlfriend. We were talking about it in here. Like, you're talking about wasn't this from the
That was
bump?
from October of
From the bump, though?
the
Like,
transcript you're looking at is from October of 2019 when you say you were his last ex-girlfriend at the time of the bump. That's what you said last time was the reason that he called you when an ex-girlfriend was mentioned.
But
and
that's what I'm saying. But you're talking about a specific date on this, what's going on right now, too. This is not on the 19th. This is the transcripts from the 19th.
Right. I'm saying though that you knew you were not his last ex-girlfriend. Isn't that true?
I'm confused because I'm saying that I was his last ex.
Bob, I don't think Katie has had one single win or benefit this entire time. She's getting her face ripped off by a Wolverine in front of a crowd.
Ex-girlfriend. What are you talking
Okay.
about from when we were talking in Dolce Vita?
Right. So you
Okay.
thought that you were his last ex-girlfriend. Objection, before-
Ask and
I'm
ask.
so,
So you're gonna ask it one more time.
Yes,
and
sir.
then that's it.
You believe you were his last ex-girlfriend
ma'am.
before the bump, and that's the reason he called you?
yes, ma'am.
And he called you because he wanted you to deal with this for him, right?
I don't know if this is the reason why he had mentioned my name and why he wanted me to call.
Okay, well, even before though, that you knew your name was mentioned, you were willing to help him with the problem, right?
I was listening to him. I don't know at that moment if I was saying that I was willing to help him.
Okay, I want you to look at that same page, 154, lines 17 through 19. In 2019, you said before your name was mentioned, you were willing to help him with that problem.
I said, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're asked by Charlie Adelson to call this number. You don't know why he's asking you to do this other than you're his last ex-girlfriend. And then the person that you get to call the number coincidentally just happens to be the shooter of the crime that Charlie Adelson thinks he's being blackmailed for, right?
I mean, can you ask your question one more time?
You were asked by Charlie Adelson to call this number
Yes.
on the article.
Yes.
You got someone else to do that for you, right?
Yeah, I asked Sigfredo to do it.
Sigfredo. So you coincidentally get the person who was the shooter of this crime that Charlie Adelson's being blackmailed.
I mean,
right?
I was just
Yeah, coincidences happen. There's a lot of them in this case, as Charlie would say.
asking Sigfredo to call the number.
Okay, and just coincidentally, he's the shooter.
I didn't even know about any of that until the trial.
Okay, so that is a coincidence.
In your opinion, I believe so.
All right. I don't think it's a coincidence. You're saying that that's a coincidence. You didn't actually have anything to do with it.
No, ma'am.
And you didn't actually know what it was about or who you were getting to call for that reason, anything.
No, ma'am. Other than the fact that they said Katie and Tudo.
Yeah, and when Charlie Adelson told you that his mom said it has to do with Tudo and Tudo, why didn't you say, you know exactly who that is, Charlie? Tudo is Sigfredo.
No, he was saying it in different ways, and then that's why I never corrected him. I know, like, they've asked me about that before. I didn't know that I had to correct them and say, well, you know him. You know the father of my kids. Like, why are you saying the name different?
And he said that though multiple times. He said, I don't even know who Tudo is. He said that on the phone, and he said that in Dolce Vita, didn't he?
On the phone, I think I heard it, but on the Dolce Vita, I don't remember.
And you just didn't correct him, just didn't ask why
I
he was
just
acting like
didn't.
he didn't know who Tudo was.
That's the whole reason why I'm even in here, because I wasn't asking the questions.
Why don't you ever mention Garcia's name to Charlie Adelson?
Why don't I ever mention his name?
Right.
Like the Tudo?
Oh, I don't know why she keeps repeating the question. That is such a bad look.
No, why don't you ever say Tudo or Garcia to Charlie Adelson? Why do you just say he this, he that?
I never mention his name to him.
Right. Why not?
I just don't. Like, I'm not going to be like saying, I don't know. I didn't.
Why don't you ever mention Charlie's name to Sigfredo Garcia?
I've always referred to him like my friend, or vice versa. Like, I always say my friend. I don't think they want to hear about each other's name whenever I'm mentioning them.
So whenever you talk to Garcia about Charlie Adelson, you always say that person or my friend.
Or my friend, yeah.
Okay. I mean, if you called him and are talking to him about that person, how does he know who you're talking about?
Did I ever message him saying that person?
In the wiretap call, yeah. You're talking to Sigfredo Garcia and referring to Charlie as that person.
I don't recall.
Why don't you just say Charlie?
I never mentioned either one of their names because I don't know. I just didn't.
I mean, isn't the reason though that you never say their names is because you were all afraid that law enforcement might be listening?
Well, apparently everybody had a burner phone, so why would anybody even be talking on the phone?
Charlie called you. Charlie said that he wanted the problem flushed. That problem was this bad guy that was trying,
not in evidence.
Overruled.
that was trying to extort his mom.
That was joke.
Okay. But he wanted you were the person that he wanted to take care of this problem, right?
Yes, because somebody mentioned my name. We've
Right.
gone over this.
Out of all the people in the world, though, he chose you. And you're saying that,
Because they mentioned my name
okay, today,
and Tudo's name, and then mentioned Tato's name. So yeah, that's why I was confused.
all right, what happened in the car before y'all went to Dolce Vita?
I don't even recall that. That's what I was asking when they said that there's a 10-minute meetup in a car. Like, where's that video or where's that?
Did he search you for a wire?
You're talking about
Charlie Adelson.
Charlie?
Yeah.
No, because I don't even recall that happening.
All right.
Mrs. D, I'd love to see that. Yeah, please do. You've got my email address, right? truecrimemetrics@gmail.com. She says, we analyzed the whole Dolce Vita transcript in her linguistics class, and she'll send us a copy. Yeah, that'd be great to have the Dolce Vita recording and the, is it Matsuri, the Japanese restaurant recording? And we'll bring your analysis into it, Mrs. D. Still working on the ideas for Russell Williams, but we're packing out the Adelson content at the moment, so we're going to get to Russell Williams. I think after this week, I'm pretty much done for the summer, and the studio is almost ready to actually work in. So we're going to have more time basically to get into some extra non-Adelson content. So everyone subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share, leave a comment.
When did you find out that Dan Markel was murdered?
I believe I found out when Sigfredo got arrested.
Okay, so that was the first time that you'd ever heard of Dan Markel, his brother-in-law, being murdered.
Yes, ma'am.
Charlie Adelson never told you that.
No, ma'am.
And you and him talk all the time.
Not all the time. You'll see the phone records. It shows.
I've seen them, and y'all talk all the time.
You were just telling me earlier that like our conversation stopped, like dwindled down.
No, I was
Within
saying
those-
that you said that he was ghosting you.
Bzzz, dwindled down. Our conversation dwindled down. Everything dwindled down. It's one of those things that I don't believe she says in normal conversation. You know, when people start saying whatnot all the time, look into it. Oh, I did this and whatnot. No one says that in a normal sentence unless they're being elusive.
Okay.
Okay. You and Charlie Adelson talk all the time, right?
I guess so.
Okay. And when Sigfredo, I mean, he never mentioned to you that Dan Markel had been murdered.
No, ma'am.
What was it that you thought he was saying that made national news, BBC News, Good Morning America?
What
What's
was
he talking?
who saying?
What was Charlie Adelson talking about? What made
I don't know. I didn't even know what BBC was.
You know what Good Morning America is?
Yes,
right?
I know that, but I didn't. It wasn't anything that was like popping out. He never mentioned Dan Markel. He never mentioned Tallahassee. He never mentioned anything about a murder. Those things would stick out.
Right. I would think that they would.
But he didn't talk about that. And telling you, and
Why didn't you ask? I mean, what was on Good Morning America? What was on national news?
I don't remember what happened. I mean, we have the whole video, and it didn't even pick up anything I said.
To you what he was talking about.
He didn't explain anything. He was saying scenarios.
Okay. In the Dolce Vita video, he's saying it's either somebody trying to blackmail his family or it's the cops working undercover.
Yes,
Why
ma'am.
would it be the police? Why would the police?
Mrs. D, that looks fantastic. I've just saved your PowerPoint, and I'm going to read that before I go to sleep tonight for sure. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your work. Very exciting stuff to have these materials sent over to us. We love them. Keep them coming.
Be investigating his family.
I don't know.
Why isn't your first question, why in the world would the cops be running an undercover investigation on your family?
I don't even know if I ever mentioned that. I don't know. Don't remember what happened in 2014.
Looking at page 155, lines 3 through 11.
Hi, Marcus.
You were asked, why would it be the cops? On page 155, lines 3 through 11. You were asked why it would be the cops. You said, I don't know, because he's always talking about the cops. You were asked, but didn't you ask him why the cops would be running an undercover operation on his mother? And you said, no, ma'am.
So I didn't ask.
Right. You didn't ask. Why wouldn't you ask? Why would the cops be running an investigation on your family?
I don't know. That's the whole reason of why he was meeting up with me, because he doesn't even know what was going on. Now I see that he did.
Right. I mean, we're not talking about him though. I'm saying you didn't ask why the cops would be running an undercover investigation on his family, did you?
No, ma'am.
And this may be the third time objection asked and answered.
All right, that was asked and answered.
Okay.
Let's move on.
I want to ask you about this Dolce Vita video.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, I'm gonna have to put my headphones on for this.
You need more volume. You need more volume. Okay? Your number is on the headset. Okay, just tell me.
Yes. Ow.
We've got to get another 7 likes on this video to get a 100% rating, guys. 7 likes. 7 of you haven't liked the video, just saying.
In that clip.
Objection, Judge, as to what Charlie Adelson said.
Overruled. This is, she can give her interpretation. It's up to the jury to decide, but she can ask the question.
When he says at the very beginning of that clip, if they had any evidence, we'd already be gone to the airport by now.
Objection.
What did you understand?
I didn't hear that.
Overruled.
I didn't even hear anything that the recording was saying.
You didn't hear any of that?
I didn't hear anything like the line that you just said. I did not hear that on the recording.
When that recording started, you didn't hear him say, if they had any evidence, we would have already gone to the
No,
airport
ma'am.
by now. So you had no idea of what he was talking about, evidence of what?
I don't know, ma'am.
If he did say that, what evidence of what?
I wouldn't know. I don't know what I said.
Okay, so in the next statement, when he's saying if they bug your phone, you're still not talking about any of this? I mean, what are you not talking about?
I don't know what he's talking about.
You couldn't hear anything that he said.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Maybe my volume was not high enough. Maybe I should try that one again. Let's try it one more time.
Don't mess up those braids, Katie. Your fellow prisoners are going to have some work to do when you get back tonight.
So you're at the beginning of the clip that time when he says, if we had any evidence, we would have already gone to the airport by now?
The only thing I caught was bugged phone.
Okay.
I didn't hear anything in the beginning.
If he had said to you, if they had any evidence, we'd already be gone to the airport by now, what was he talking about? Evidence of what?
I have no idea. I told you he was saying scenarios and I can't remember what he was talking about at that time.
So he wouldn't have been trying to ease your mind, let you know if this is the cops, they don't have anything on us?
No?
When he says, even if they bug your phone, and at the end he says, you still have not been talking about this. What have you not been talking about on your phone?
I didn't hear anything that said anything about me not talking on the phone.
When he was talking about even if they bug this, even if they bug your phone,
Okay.
at the end of the clip, he says, you still have not been talking about this. So even if your phone is bugged, you're
But
still
is
not
he
talking
implying
about this.
to me like he might have been saying scenarios? You guys keep taking things out of context and it's not, I don't even know. I can't answer that question if I don't know the whole thing.
Okay, so I'm telling you what I'm hearing on here, and I'm asking you about it.
What
You're
you're
saying,
hearing?
Judge, that's improper.
All right. I don't want to get argumentative. You've already asked and answered that question.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
move on.
You never went to Tallahassee, did you?
No, ma'am.
And you never shot anybody, did you?
No, ma'am.
I want to play the next clip for you.
He's telling you there that you have to be able to put the person at the scene at the time in order to prove a crime. You can't just say, oh, my brother did it.
Matilda, hi, welcome back, Matilda. Good to see you. Matilda says, guys, she thought Sarah Dugan was on the border of being mean to Katie, but just under. Brilliant. Otherwise, she may have made Katie a sympathetic character to the jury. Isn't that the perfect balance? It's like, you know what it's like? It's like rolling a bowling ball down to the pins and just touching pin one and stopping without knocking any of them down. That's the precision of what Sarah Dugan has done with this cross-examination. The perfect measure of force and retention, you know. Amazing. I couldn't speak any higher of what Sarah Dugan has done here.
Or, oh, I shot JFK. You've got to have evidence.
It's a perfect game.
That's what he's telling you, right?
Okay.
That's what he's telling you, right?
I mean, that's what it said on the recording.
What is he talking about?
I have no idea. That's what I'm telling you. He keeps talking in scenarios. I don't know what he's talking about.
Right, and last time when you testified in 2019, you
Hi,
said
Leslie.
that he was just talking in scenarios. You didn't have any specific memory about what,
Exactly. I didn't remember anything specific.
right? Your attorney asked you today whether if last time you explained what was in the Dolce Vita video,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
you explained was that you remember him talking about scenarios. You didn't know what they were. You didn't have any specific memory of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you don't know why he's letting you know that, hey, in order to prove a crime, they have to put the person at the scene of the crime. You don't know why.
I don't know why.
No, I don't think so, Clarissa. This is they cleaned up the audio for Charlie's trial. That's when they had that really good expert who came in and told us about the process of cleaning it up, and it was much more audible for Charlie's trial. So it was just after this that they got it done, I think.
Well, something that anyway, the problem is this. Okay, so this is about cops. So you ask you why the house. I don't know. You know, hey, okay. How do you did you find it? You get witnesses, you will see murder rumor on the street that this person did something. How does that work? Zero. Then what you do is you put a wire, give the person all the and you get the person to pass on wire, and you have another charge. You have a dispatcher.
I would really hate to be a co-conspirator of anything with Charlie. The way he goes on and on. Oh, let's say you rent a car and I come to you and I say, hey, Katie, can I borrow the car? And you're like, sure. And then I take the car and I go and rob Burger King in Orlando. Shut up, man. Just someone punch him in the face, please.
In that one, he tells you, if this person went to the cops, they're going to be asked, well, where's the weapon? Did you witness it? No, you just heard a rumor. Well, that's worth zero. You have to get them on a wire. You have to get the person to confess. Outside of that, there's no evidence. That's what you heard, right?
Parts of it, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And he's saying, right, that if you guys all keep quiet, no one's going to have any evidence of you, right?
I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't know what he was talking. He's saying scenarios over and over.
Why is he talking to this about this with you?
I don't know.
What is he saying the cops aren't going to have evidence of?
I have no idea.
You had no clue.
No.
And you didn't ask either, did you? That's your
I
testimony?
don't remember what we were talking about, or if I asked. I mean, I hear myself responding, but
Right, but you did say that you never asked why the cops should be running this undercover investigation, right?
I believe so.
Okay. You were in this Prius that Garcia and Rivera rented for the July trip to Tallahassee. You were in it at some point, right?
No, ma'am.
You never sat in it?
Never sat there.
Never rode with Garcia just to get food or something?
No, ma'am.
All right. The father of your children was in that Prius though, right?
Well, with the picture that they've showed, you see, yeah, he was in that Prius.
Okay. And in this video, Charlie Adelson is giving you examples of how just because a person was in a car that someone used to commit a crime, that doesn't mean anything, right?
On what video?
On the Dolce Vita video.
I don't recall that part.
Okay.
I don't know about that, Clarissa, because if they'd been playing the cleaned up audio in Katherine's trial, surely they'd have had the expert who cleaned it up come and testify in her trial. And I can't think that the cleaned up audio gave them the power to to arrest Charlie that they didn't have before. It didn't really bring much new information. I could be wrong. I can't really remember. I'm just going off the top of my head. But thanks for your points, Clarissa. Valid as always and appreciated.
Okay, you just have my car right, and then I go ahead and I do the crime, and I go, and you get in the car, I go, yeah, you in my car, he got out, and he did this horrible crime. Okay, they come, they get the DNA, the car, they go, you was my car. He had a car for 2 minutes, got EHC, and I got out of the car. He had nothing to do with the car.
Got one more.
Outside of that, there's no evidence. Okay? You know, you have a car, and you like this person lives, right, in that car, okay? But even if they were also driving that day, and rented and letting go drive, what if you rent your car today, hey, I borrowed the weekend, I'll bring it back on the day. You know, yeah, sure, so you rented the car, you've been in that car, I drive it to fucking Orlando, I rock it down to Orlando, I come back and I go, here's
Yeah, this is the second trial, Clarissa.
and okay, thank you. And if you rented it, but well, what if you were fucking out all weekend, you know, I took your phone, I did something and I brought it back. Okay, my point is, I don't have any knowledge. And then this person is just pretending to do what else. I don't want someone to change it.
So here in those two clips we listened to, he was saying you have to be able to put the person at the scene at the time, not in the car. Let's say you sat in the car, right? Then I go commit a crime, but your DNA is in there. And I said, Katie was in my car and she did this horrible crime. Okay, they get your DNA in the car and okay, Katie was in the car. No, that means Katie sat in the car for 2 minutes and got out. Katie has nothing to do with me robbing Burger King. That's what you heard, right?
Parts of it, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then he gives you another rental car example. He said, if you have a car and you can link this person to renting that car that's used at the scene of the crime, you also have to prove who was driving that day. You know, they could have rented it and lent it to a friend. Then he gives you another one, doesn't he? He says, you rent a car and I asked to borrow it. I drive to Orlando, rob a McDonald's and come back. Yeah, you rented it, but you were out. You didn't even know I took your car. Isn't that what you heard?
Parts of it, yes.
Why is he giving you so many rental car examples?
I wish I knew. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's saying scenarios. Don't you think it's kind of odd? Why is he saying all those scenarios in front of other people or whatever? If, like, apparently, if he thought that I was, what did you say earlier, that I'm wearing a wire?
No, I think that he didn't think you were wearing a wire. I think he thought that y'all were in a loud restaurant and he's trying to ease your mind. And he's saying to you, right, that he's saying.
But why is he? Why is he trying to convey he has nothing to do with it when I don't know what he's talking?
I'm going to shut.
I'm sorry.
Okay, she's going to ask the questions and you're going to respond, okay?
He is trying to ease your mind because the car that Garcia and Rivera rented to drive up here and kill Dan Markel had been on the news, right?
I don't know of that.
You were nervous that police might be able to connect them to having rented it or been in that car, weren't you?
Why would I be nervous? I never even knew of it.
You never knew that the car was on the news.
I knew from when Sigfredo got arrested, and I think they put a picture of that, of the Prius.
He was trying to tell you in that video that it doesn't matter if they rented a certain car or were seen in a certain car. Police have to be able to put them at the scene of the crime at the time, right?
That's what he had said on the video, but I don't know what he was talking about.
So he's just talking about that. You have no idea why.
He's giving different scenarios.
Okay. One of the scenarios he gave was, he said, you know, it could be the cops, you know, trying to run an undercover investigation, or it could be somebody trying to blackmail his family. That was the other scenario, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did he think somebody would be extorting money from his family?
I don't know. That's what he was trying to figure out.
Wouldn't you be curious as to why someone was trying to blackmail his family?
Would I be curious?
Right.
I was curious. That's why I sat there and I listened.
Right. But you never asked him, why would somebody be trying to blackmail your family? Why are the cops doing this investigation on your family?
I don't know if I asked them at that time or not, because apparently
you said in
it didn't
2019
even,
you did not, right?
well, apparently then I don't, because I don't recall. But if that video said, or like it picked up anything that I was saying, then I would know what I was talking about.
Well, you said in 2019 that you did not
Okay, so
ever
then I
ask that,
don't.
right? And now though the video is audible, right? And it's pretty obvious you would have known what was going on in order to
Objection
listen
I
to
don't.
all this.
characterization
Oh,
of the
that's,
evidence.
all right. Ask a question, Ms.
Yes, sir.
Dugan.
All right, let's listen to one more. And about 12, 15 seconds in there, you heard him say that, you know, if this was somebody blackmailing his family, this is somebody who knows information. That's what he said to you, right?
That's what it said on the video.
Is that what you heard? That this is someone
No,
who
all I
knows
heard, I
information?
heard a little bit in the end, but I didn't hear the first sentence, like what you were just saying right now.
What is he talking about that these people know information about?
I don't know. Keep telling you, I don't even remember.
Okay, got one more.
No, she doesn't say nothing.
I think she looks quite good in the headphones, Hugh. Maybe she should just always wear headphones. And Beats Audio really missed a trick, you know. They could have had their product plastered all over this courtroom. Just donate to the court while it's like the headphones are really heavy because every time she puts them on, her head just falls forward. This, what is the brand? Tascam headphones. Seriously. You know, her back is in chronic agony because of the huge boobs, and now her head is leaning forward because of the huge headphones. Maybe she should put the headphones on her boobs. Yeah, California Amy says, Katie's proffers were the same way. She never commits to answering anything. It's so annoying that, isn't it? Doesn't it just grate on you? It's like, listen, lady, just tell us the truth. How many times people say talking to Junum Chinder is like pulling teeth? Well, what about Katie? It's like pulling teeth out of an alligator.
So in that clip, he's saying if this is a bad guy, there's two ways of dealing with it. We can go ahead and call the police. They'll contact him, arrange a setup, take him down. But then he'll be telling everything he knows.
Hi, Tracy. Yeah, I heard that, from Yindra Velasquez Mascaro on Judy's interview of her the other day, that she thought Katie didn't spill the potatoes all over the road because she thought Charlie would hurt her kids. Hurt her kids? Hurt her autistic son and the daughter? I mean, what is that about? Or her other members of her family.
Or else he's going to serve 10 years in prison. And the next thing you know, that person's singing and he's going to start calling your name out. And my parents are going to have to say, they're going to be asked the story of what happened. Isn't that what you heard?
Kings.
I didn't hear that. Like, not all of everything that you're saying, but like I said, I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, you heard him say at the end of that clip that they're going to be calling your name out. That
My
blackmailer.
name?
Right.
No, I did not hear that.
With this bad guy who knows he's going to tell the cops information, why would he be calling your name out?
I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, Katie suffers from tight brain and empty head syndrome.
Got one more.
Whoever this guy is, I don't know who he is. And these people are going to see my friend. Yeah, I got it. All the time. Yeah, I got it. So I got to call somebody to say, I reach out. I got it. So if you reach out,
Yeah, she said victimless crimes like stealing cars. Well, if I got my car stolen, I'd be a victim, wouldn't I? That'd be a pain in the ass, man. Now, this cross-exam is longer than I remember. We might have to do a two-part on this, guys.
Explains that this bad guy could tell information to the police, could call your name out. He says, this is my idea. And he gives you very precise instructions, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was talking about the calling to say it's
I don't know. I mean, there's not really that much going on. It's pretty much the same. Maybe we'll stop there, and I don't even know if we'll come back to it tomorrow. We've got Donna's case management hearing tomorrow, guys. She's going to be appearing on Zoom. Should we go on with this a bit more? It's pretty much the same all the way through, which is Sarah Dugan just tearing her to shreds in front of the jury and Katie not knowing anything with this dumb expression on her face. There's not much for us to talk about, really, but it does seem like an important testimony. And after this, the reason we're going through Katie's testimony is because we want to get to General Isom on the stand, because this is the trial where he appears and he does a really good job. You know, gone are the days where we thought General Isom was nothing but a circus bear that can no longer perform and is just chained to a truck next to the big tent. You know, gone are those days. He's now the silver fox, quicker than lightning. And he carries himself very well on the stand. I think it's Christopher DeCoste that's doing the cross-exam of him. And there's tension, there's heat, you know, it's good. I'm looking forward to getting back to some Christopher DeCoste soon. So I think we'll give this a little bit more, let a few more comments come in. Remember, guys, like, share, leave a comment. If you'd like to support the channel, there's super thanks, super link, super like, super sticker, super YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Buy me a coffee in the description. Social networks in the description, and all the rest of that good stuff.
Yeah.
He told you to say, my friends have no idea what you're talking about. And frankly, I don't know what you're talking about either, but the name sounds familiar. Who's incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am.
Whose name did he think sounded familiar?
I believe it's because his mom got bumped and said that you have to help your friend's Tato or something.
Right.
Like your brother Tato. I don't know. He's talking about Tato or Tudo.
Okay. The name Tato and Tudo were familiar to you.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And you never had to tell him who Tudo and Tato were. He knew and you knew. Right?
I don't know if he knew. Well, yeah, he did. He knew Tudo's name.
Okay.
I don't know about Tato.
Tato was the one who was incarcerated, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you knew that.
I knew he was incarcerated by the feds, but I don't know where he was at.
All right, and he said, so I'm going to give you something as charity to help the less fortunate, but do not contact these people again or they're going to the police. The only reason we're doing it is because of karma. And the whole time that you're talking, this is what he's telling you to do, right?
Okay.
He wants you to say, I don't know what's going on, and only use the words help and charity, right?
Okay.
He really didn't want you to give this guy any information about what you knew, did he?
Didn't want to give who?
He really didn't want you to give this blackmailer any information about what you knew, right? He's saying, don't say anything else, right?
No, he's just telling you.
Yeah, Teresa, I don't know if we're going to finish the Katherine Magbanua cross. It's pretty much the same from here, I think. Should we just skip to the end? Then we can draw a line under it forever. Yeah, she's gonna look. Can you see this? When we fast forward, she's gonna watch the video of Dolce Vita. Let's get through it, guys.
Why were you talking in code on the wire?
Representation of a segment of his iCloud account.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Tara's
Right?
gonna come back with some redirects. Let's
believe
give that a
so.
shot.
That's
Okay.
what the call log says.
And you spoke to him. You tried to call him in June and July because you knew that he and Garcia were together in Tallahassee during that time.
I didn't know that they were here.
Well, then why would you call Luis Rivera?
I don't remember why I called him. I called him in June and in July.
Yeah, on the June trip and the July trip.
If he was with Garcia, but maybe I was trying to get a hold of Garcia.
Those were the only times all summer, though, that you called that number, though.
I don't
That's what
recall
the
that.
expert said.
I don't recall that that's the only time.
If you were always trying to call Rivera whenever you were looking for Garcia, you would have called it more than 2 times the whole summer,
I
right?
don't recall that.
And then on July 19th, the reason that y'all were talking that day, you and Luis Rivera, was because that was the day you were supposed to deliver money, right?
I never delivered any money.
You said, so the only time that you call him is during this June and July trip to Tallahassee and the day of the money drop that summer. And your phone locations are consistent with being at his house. But those are just all coincidences. You didn't have anything to do with this murder. That's what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Aren't you mad at Garcia? For it?
Am I mad at them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been upset.
If you were mad at Garcia, I mean, just not long ago, just this month, you said on a recorded call to him, I can't talk to you, I can't touch you, I can't see you, I can't feel you, and you were crying about it.
Yeah, he's the father of my kids. I'm gonna love him forever.
And this $17,000 cash spike during the 6 weeks after the murder being put on the Adelson payroll, even though you didn't collect rent, you made the one appointment, your $4,000 breast augmentation, all of that within the 2 months of the murder. Those are just all coincidences to it. You didn't have anything to do with this. The money had nothing to do with anything that you did.
I've explained everything already.
Okay. All the favors that Charlie did for you after you and him broke up, the trips, nothing with that had to do anything with the murder. That was just a coincidence too. Just him just being nice.
I guess so.
Okay. The fact that he called you out of all of his ex-girlfriends after his mom just said an ex-girlfriend was mentioned, that's a coincidence too.
I guess so.
The fact that your husband committed a murder for your boyfriend, that's also just a coincidence. You didn't have anything to do with it?
I didn't have anything to do with it.
I mean, those are some pretty unbelievable coincidences, right?
Objection improper.
That's sustained.
Okay, you either have the worst luck or you did this, right?
Objection improper question.
Sustained.
Garcia would never do anything to help Charlie Adelson, would he?
I wouldn't think that, but with everything that's all in the evidence and stuff, I mean, it looks pretty bad.
And you said in 2019 he would never do anything.
I did say that because I would never think that they would like each other in any way or do favors for each other.
Okay.
I see why I'm in the middle. I'm smack in the middle. I see it. That's why I'm fighting for my life.
And so you did say Garcia would never do anything to help Charlie Adelson.
In my 2019 testimony, yes, I did mention that.
Right. And in opening, your attorney said that there was definitive proof of a link between Garcia and Charlie. What is it?
What did my attorney say?
No, what's the link between Garcia and Charlie?
That they knew each other or they spoke to each other.
How?
I don't know. Apparently everything's being done behind my back. That's why.
That's all. Thank you.
Redirect.
Ms. Magbanua,
Yes, ma'am.
let's talk about your memory,
Yes, ma'am.
all right? Ms. Dugan was not present at Dolce Vita, was she?
No, she was not.
Okay, and as much as she's trying to insert her opinion as what is being said, it's just that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have heirs?
Ma'am.
So they can listen for themselves of what happened at that restaurant.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I do want to talk about some things that Ms. Dugan purposely left out that we could all hear on that video. Like the time when he said, if they
This is better, Tara Kawass. Okay. That was a good opening to redirect, I gotta say. As boring as she is.
are the cops, I'm happy because I have nothing to hide.
Yes, ma'am.
You remember when that was played, Ms. Dugan skipped over that part and went to what she thought she heard afterwards, right?
Oh, she lost it. That didn't last long, did it?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's because that makes no sense.
Of course.
If you are all involved in a homicide together, why is Charles Adelson telling?
See, you've just got to calm it down in Tallahassee. You've got to talk like you're bored out of your mind, which is basically what Georgia's tactic is. But it also gives her the vibe of being completely unfazed. You know, she wants you to think she's one of those giant sea turtles that's like 200 years old, moving slow, moving very slow. But, you know, she's quicker than I don't know, something that's really, really quick, right?
You that
A viper.
if it's the cops, I'm happy. That makes no sense.
No sense.
Okay, because if you were all involved in a homicide and it was the cops, what would happen?
He'd get arrested.
And if you were involved, what would happen?
I'd get arrested.
All right. Now, she also brought up all of these portions of what Charlie Adelson is supposedly saying,
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
It's clear that half of that entire video is missing.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about how that enhancement came to be. You provided testimony back in 2019, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's before the state was able to create this new audio.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you testified in 2015 and answered questions,
Yes, ma'am.
you had no idea that they
Okay, that's confirmed. It is the new audio, guys. I was wrong, and that's okay. I'm happy to admit that.
would even be able to create this new audio.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I stated, that everything in my testimony is consistent with everything that was on the video that they just enhanced.
Now let's get to that about just enhanced, right? You were set for trial.
Yeah, they made the video enhanced, so now we can tell what's on it and what's being said. And that's in conflict with what I've been saying, which isn't fair.
February of 2022, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Valentine's Day, you were supposed to go to trial.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the state provided us with this this new enhancement,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? And we actually agreed to reset your case
Yes, ma'am.
so that we could all get the enhancement.
Yes, ma'am.
Because as far as we're concerned, it would only contain evidence to exculpate
It's honor.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
If you thought that there would be anything on there that would prove your guilt, you would have gone to trial in February.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have even given them an opportunity if you thought anything on that video
Yes, ma'am.
would have come up against you.
Yes, ma'am.
And as we sit here and listen to this video, this covert undercover thing that they did, do you hear any direct evidence in there of some?
That's the other thing that Tara Kawass always does and says as well, isn't it, guys? It's like this FBI covert undercover secret operation. Like she says it like it's this super shady thing. It's the FBI. It's an investigation into a murder, a brutal homicide of a revered law professor. The FBI come down here with secret filming cameras and audio equipment.
Something to do with the homicide?
That's why I stated that I've never heard Dan Martel's name. I never heard homicide. I never heard murder. I never heard Tallahassee. Nothing. And I'm telling you that he is going on and on about different scenarios.
Like one of the clips that she played where he says, he starts talking about a scenario like if I go to Orlando and I rob a Burger King. There's no robbery of a Burger King, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you here for a robbery of a Burger King?
No, ma'am.
Okay, but that's what one of the scenarios he presented to you.
Yes, ma'am.
He also mentioned about something about, well, Miss Dugan says, he says something about robbing a McDonald's.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he doesn't say any scenarios about a homicide
Yes, ma'am.
or a murder.
Yes, ma'am.
It sounds like he is just trying to justify why it is that they would say your name.
And for me to make a phone call.
I don't know, Bob. I try to do the Jamaican in a woman. If I do a Jamaican accent, normally it's a really deep voice, you know. But yeah, Roberta Glass's impression of Donna's fantastic. I just love that. That's what got me hooked on her show.
Okay. How many times did he repeat to you, it's because they said your name? If you can remember.
On this video, I can't recall.
How many times have you had an opportunity to sit down and listen to the video that we just received a couple of months ago?
I haven't even seen it in its entirety because they can never get anything to the jail.
And so
Can't
this,
get that evidence.
was this maybe the second time in this trial that you were able
Yes,
to
ma'am.
listen to it?
This is like the second.
Chief Mackey won't let it come into the jail, guys. Or Mick, Muck.
Time. And we still don't know what the first half was, or this time that I went to the car for 10 minutes. Like,
They have no record of that, right?
apparently that's what I wanted to know. Where was the record for that?
There's no video of that?
No video.
Okay. And had they been able to enhance the entire audio, not just bits and pieces of what Charlie is saying, we wouldn't have to speculate. about what that conversation was, right?
Exactly. That's why I didn't want to commit to a certain thing that I'm saying or how I'm interpreting it, because clearly it wasn't big enough for me to be like, oh my God, why are you talking about this? Or, oh my God, we got to call the cops, or me run away because you said this. It's like everything was taken out of context, just like my phone calls, just like this video.
And everything that we've all sat down and listening to, every single thing, there is no direct evidence of you being involved in a homicide.
No, because they've had this video forever. I would have been arrested a long time ago.
Let's
If
talk
that,
about that. These wiretaps and this Dolce Vita, that was all known to them in May of 2016, right?
I believe so. Before Sigfredo was arrested?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
They released your probable cause affidavit, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And said it's because there was no probable cause to arrest you.
Yes, ma'am.
So they didn't have probable cause to arrest you until Luis Rivera was arrested, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, if they had some direct evidence in those wiretaps, they wouldn't need Luis Rivera.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So everything is innuendo and speculation.
Yes, ma'am.
You would expect, if you are wiretapping people who are involved for over 400 recorded phone calls, that there would at least be one thing in there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
In the Dolce Vita video, you can hear that you're talking,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? Your voice isn't raised.
No.
You don't sound like you're, well, we can't hear you at all,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? So where Miss Dugan keeps asking you about things of what it is that you said, we won't know because they can't clarify your voice, right?
Yes, ma'am.
This case has always been focused on Charles Adelson.
Yes, ma'am.
The video was pointed at who?
Charles.
Whose voice is the only one that was able to be amplified?
Charles.
And you're always the person that is left in the dark.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I want to go over some of the text message that Miss Dugan tried to commit you to try and explain what they meant, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you tell me what we talked about, I don't know, 4 months ago on February 23rd of this year?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you even know what day of the week it was on February 23rd of this year?
No, ma'am.
Correct. You were asked questions about text messages over the course of 2013 to 2016.
That's why I was getting a little upset, because I can't remember those times, and I know they want me to commit to a certain date, certain time, certain scenarios, and I just like, I want to be able to provide that information, and I can't.
Now, I'm referring to one of the exhibits that are marked that was previously shown to you in regards to a text message dated 12/11/2016. Right? I'm showing you this. This is a snippet of a full-blown conversation, right?
Yes, ma'am.
The tape did not include the entire conversation.
Well, that's why I had asked what did the rest say, because they always take bits and pieces of everything and make it to look like something else, and it looks bad. I get it. I see it. This is my second time around. I see how it makes it look so bad.
You see, when you see these things in pieces, even though it's you, you're like, this looks bad.
It looks bad.
And you understand why Ms. Dugan says, oh, all these coincidences. You understand that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But it's because they don't have the whole story.
Yes, ma'am.
We tried to introduce some of the phone calls, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And we can't.
I don't know why not, but we couldn't.
I'm going to show you another text message that was shown to you about Charles Adelson offering to buy you a trip for your mother. Okay? Can you read that to the jury, please?
I'm scared.
No, right above it.
Oh, by the way, she's having a major surgery for her spine on January. She has to be out for 6 months.
What was going on with your mom when she did surgery?
After she had something was hurting on her spine,
Okay.
a back surgery that she needed to do.
This had anything to do with her cancer diagnosis later on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so Charles knew that you were going through this with your mom.
Yes, ma'am.
How close were you to your mom?
Very, very close.
And he was offering for you and your mom to take a trip.
Yeah. Apparently, yes, ma'am.
And you guys took that trip, right?
No, ma'am. Couldn't.
You can never take that trip with them.
Objection irrelevant.
Just, if you can answer the question, overruled.
No, I can't because my mom passed away while I was in here.
And you've always felt,
But Dan Markel passed away before you got here. You know, it is rough. It is rough. You know, apparently her mother got the cancer, remission came back, or whatever the terminology is. You know, and she went really quickly because of the stress of having a daughter in jail probably forever, right? It's you know, none of this is nice, is it?
that you hold the key to your own freedom, right?
They said that themselves, that I hold the key to my own freedom.
That's sustained.
Your Honor,
Jury to disregard that statement.
it goes to our state of mind.
That your objection's overruled.
Now I want to show you some other text messages that's already been introduced into evidence. I'm showing you what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 33.
Yeah, let me help you.
Okay, do you see the date of this text message?
3/12/2014.
Okay, and this would be the morning after you had dinner at Yardbird, right?
He called me and said, yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you read that text to the jury?
I guess, I don't know. He called me and said, have a nice dinner, and to never call him again. I'm like, WTF.
And you're talking about Sofredo here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
These text messages come from Charlie's iPhone.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Rabbit takes care of the house old school, guys. How's your pound cake, Rabbit?
We don't have your text messages from back there.
I don't know why we don't.
But that indicates that someone was watching you at dinner, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And he said, and it sounds like he's mad.
Objection to reading.
That's
Yeah.
sustained.
Does it sound like he's mad?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, too,
All the questions have been leading. I was going to comment, but then I was like, oh, is leading allowed on redirect? I guess not.
kind of strange, don't you think, that Charles would be asking you about Tudo the next day
Yes, ma'am.
to see if he's maybe told you about their meeting the night before.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, let's look at Defense Exhibit 29.
Good. Good. Right.
Can you read that to the jury, please?
I'm letting go of the night job. I'm not going in this weekend. They're behind on paying me and shit, and it's a lot of work. Like, we shouldn't have to clean up after that. What I tip out the bus boys for, and they suck.
This is evidence that he's working that night.
Yes, ma'am.
Objection, can we ask for a date on that?
April 30th of 2023. And this is in evidence. I'm also going to show you what's already been put into evidence, which is Defense 5 from November 6, 2014. What does that say?
Put that you work in the office, not at home.
All of these little statements that come from the iCloud, all of these are just little pieces of evidence that prove that you were working for him,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? And there was a text message also about you paying for the Lexus.
Yes, ma'am.
There's also paperwork to support that you're paying for the Lexus.
Yes, ma'am.
But this is not a response that they want to hear from you.
No, ma'am.
It's only about their truth,
Yes, ma'am.
not the real truth.
Or what they have.
Now, I want to, she asked you about Charlie, that there being evidence that Charlie called in prescriptions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did Charlie treat your son? Or his father did dentally? Is that?
I don't quite remember. He might have.
But you got services from them, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe one time they're bringing up something about you pulling your wisdom teeth.
Yes, ma'am.
You need a prescription after that, don't
Yes,
you?
ma'am. Yeah. Oh, no, it wasn't for any type of weird prescriptions. It was for the pain.
The Vicodin, I'm assuming it's
I
Vicodin.
don't even remember what it was for. But yeah, from like an extraction.
Now, the state tried to discuss with you about that money spike,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? And she wants you to pinpoint where that money came from.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember where that money came from?
No, I didn't. Didn't even know that it was spiked up like that on that exact month and from
You
their
could
chart.
easily look at this jury and say it was on that day, right?
Nice, Rabbit. I'll take the orange polenta for 500, please.
No, ma'am.
I'm saying
Oh,
you
what?
could do that,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? If you wanted to make the evidence look better for you,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? But that's not what you've done.
No, ma'am.
Even though you keep saying, I don't remember, you've said I don't remember a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk to the jury why it is so difficult for you to remember what happened in 2014. Why do you think it's so difficult for you to remember things?
Besides the fact that it was 8 years ago, I've been incarcerated for 6 years and I had COVID twice and I can barely remember anything.
Okay, and then you were able to recollect certain specifics once these text messages were shown to you,
Yes, ma'am.
and it's because it jogs your memory.
Yes, ma'am. And it's right there. Even that I'm scared because who created those?
Now, the state is saying that it would be
That sounds damn good, Mrs. D. I gotta say. And I'm a bear at mashed potatoes.
weird for Garcia and Charlie to be speaking, as far as you knew, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wouldn't it be more weird if Charles Adelson asked his girlfriend to ask the father of her kid, whom hated him, to commit a murder for him?
That'd be extremely weird.
Okay, the person who doesn't tolerate cocaine use is going to be okay with a murder, right?
Exactly.
Now, if law enforcement, if you are even worried that you did anything wrong, okay, and that it could possibly be law enforcement monitoring what you're doing, what would you or any other reasonable person do?
Apparently everybody had a burner. Like I'm learning it every single time, or don't speak on the phone.
If you were involved in
Don't speak on the phone, whatever that means. Her whole thing is like, I don't understand any of this. When she should have, it just doesn't present well. You're going to understand it. It's like, who, me? I'm not okay with cocaine use. Or murder. Or cocaine-fueled murder.
this homicide, and Charles Adelson came to you and said, listen, some dude from up north went and mentioned your name and Tudo's name to my mom. What's up?
Yeah.
You
I'll keep that in mind, Mrs. D. Thanks for the invite.
were involved in that.
Are you in Santa Fe or Albuquerque?
Would you have freaked out?
Of course.
Would you have agreed to call someone who could have potentially been the FBI?
Yes.
You would have if you were involved?
Oh, no.
If you were involved,
I took
you'd
that out.
probably say, don't ask me to do that. You do
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. He kept pushing for me to do it. That's the part that I don't quite understand. He kept telling me.
And he kept saying to you, it's because they said your name.
Yes, ma'am.
He also says to you, because they brought this out, go in there and say that this is charity and give them the money.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that because he says if they take the money, then it's not the cops?
Yes, ma'am.
He also insinuates that, hey, we're helping out the cops by finding out who this person is, right?
Yes, ma'am.
He even mentions in there that when we kind of bring him out,
Mhm.
we'll then call the FBI.
Yes, ma'am.
He was trying to convince you that he had nothing nefarious going on,
Exactly.
okay? And he just kept repeating himself over and over again.
And over. That's why I wish they heard the other, however many other calls.
Or if there was an actual full recording of what was happening at that table.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Dugan keeps saying that you didn't say this or didn't say that, or your voice didn't get loud. If you were involved, your voice probably would have gotten louder, right?
I mean, I would probably be pissed off and reacting a completely different way.
Because you'd be suspecting that, oh my God, I'm about to go down for a murder.
Exactly.
And I have 2 kids.
Exactly.
You wouldn't sit there and let him talk his mouth off, right? Or continue to use.
Hey, Rabbit, what year were you there next to the balloon fiesta? Because that's where Jody and Travis went, right?
The phone.
Why? Exactly. Why use the phone? Why meet up? Why be in even a public place? I mean,
Can you pinpoint to all of the recordings that you listen to? Okay.
Here we go. How crazy is that? Look at that psycho. Man.
Yelling at Charlie to stop aggravating you and to do something about this.
because it was just so many phone calls after phone calls, and he's been talking about the same thing over and over and over, different scenarios, or do this or do that or whatever, and like, you call him, you call the number.
And is that part of what annoyed you, is that he was pressured, like, you call.
Yeah, because they kept saying my name. That's the only reason, because they kept saying my name.
And every time you start saying, I'm gonna call the FBI myself, because if anyone's messing with me, because he said your name.
I hear that now, and I hear it from the phone call that he was trying to calm me back down.
Immediately as you suggest that you're gonna call the FBI, what does he say? No, Katie, listen.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's, yeah.
The other things about them talking about, oh, you hear them saying, oh, they can't put you in a car. And if that segment is in relation to his scenario talking about a robbery, right?
I believe so.
Like he's explaining to you probably why, hey, listen, the FBI might be suspecting us of something, but don't worry, we're not involved in anything.
That's why I was getting kind of confused, and like how she was saying like what was being said, because I could barely hear it and I can barely understand it. And like I said, I don't want to commit. I know how it is with this whole thing, committing to certain things, and then they go back and they make it look bad. It already looks bad. And I don't even know like which clips. I don't know if it's a consistently happening like that, or that's what happened right after it, because we were seeing different clips of the video.
And you trust that the jury can listen for themselves?
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Entire video in its entirety?
Yes, ma'am. That's why we waited for this video to come out, so that my jury will be able to see this.
And we were hoping we could hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
But coincidentally, we can't.
I don't know why. I never moved from the table. I was the same exact spot.
And we just can't hear you. Now, the state also brought up the fact that Charlie does favors for you and pays for things for you.
Yes, ma'am.
May. Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Ms. Magbana, I'm showing you what's in pre-marked as Defense Exhibit 39. Do you recognize what this is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you see your name there?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you see Charles Adelson's name there?
Yes, ma'am.
Does this look like a fair and accurate representation of a segment of his iCloud account?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
Cellbrite printout.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, this time I move into evidence what's been pre-marked as Defense Exhibit 39.
Any objection?
No objection.
Be admitted as defense 39.
May I publish?
Yes.
And this is from February 2nd, 2014. You say, by the way, I need a table. Whenever you get the chance, I need to borrow one.
Yes, ma'am.
Charles Adelson's response, no problem, I'll call you tonight. Thank you. You know I'll pay you back.
Yes, ma'am.
No worries. I know you're listening. It's not a situation where Charles Adelson would just shower you with gifts and money.
No.
He'd help you out sometimes
Yes, ma'am.
and you'd pay him back,
Yes.
okay? You weren't driving around in fancy, expensive cars, right?
No, actually, that Lexus that I bought from him always broke down. That's why he was helping me with Sully, because of the fact that I bought that and then he just breaks down every time. Anyways, I was getting frustrated with the car.
He didn't pay your rent.
Did not pay my rent.
He didn't pay your kids' tuition.
No, ma'am.
Okay. He didn't buy you fancy bags like how June has and
Mhm.
fancy shoes.
No, ma'am.
He didn't buy you fancy bags like old June has and fancy shoes. Oh, she cracks me up sometimes. There are some things I like about Tara Kawass.
Okay, Judge, I'm gonna just take they're two separate exhibits. Let me show it to the state. I'm gonna go ahead and leave them to Tracy so she can mark them.
Okay.
And then I'll ask a few questions so that when I do this, I can.
All right.
Now, you had mentioned previously, and Ms. Dugan brought it out, that there were times that you were speaking in code on the phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can hear it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, back in 2019, when you were on the oath and you were asked about this, you admitted that you were talking in code, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said to the state exactly why it is that you were speaking that way.
Yes, ma'am.
Does Charles Adelson, whenever he talked, for example, about marijuana, how does he refer to it on the calls?
And in code?
The bonsai trees,
Yeah, the
right?
bonsai tree, yes.
Okay. So it wasn't unusual to him, to
No.
you, that he was kind of behaving that way.
And that's the thing, when he starts talking, it's like you kind of like pick up like kind of how his, like his way of talking, his little lingo, and then it's like you're talking kind of like back like him, but you're not really, it's not like because you're doing a code or you're coming up with this elaborate scheme of how to talk on the phone. You wouldn't talk on the phone to begin with.
Since the date of your arrest, have you heard a peep from Charles Adelson?
No, ma'am.
Has he done anything to help you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have you even spoken to him?
No, ma'am.
And you've known from the date of your arrest who the state wanted,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? They made it very clear.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know they wanted you to,
Objection, motion to eliminate.
the next question is, do you know they wanted you to cooperate?
All right. You can ask that.
You know they wanted you to cooperate.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a great idea, Mrs. D. In fact, I think we should start preparing for the first annual true crime Metrix. What are we calling it? Expo. Held in Tallahassee each year. Or maybe we could go from state to state. We'll do it for, for Wendy's trial, the first annual global true crime Metrix Expo in Tallahassee. Reception at Red Eye Coffee.
And it would be as easy as you could have pled guilty and just given them what they wanted, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But that wouldn't be what?
Truthful.
You'd have to lie about your involvement.
She's under oath. It's an impossibility that she lies on the stand. She took the oath, guys.
Exactly. Or whatever they wanted me to say.
Okay. And you've tried to explain yourself to the government over and over again.
Plenty of times.
Okay. And your story has never.
Wouldn't that be great, Rabbit, to get the balloon printed with the logo on the top? Be fantastic. I've been thinking about painting my face like face paint with the logo and making that the channel badge or whatever.
Never changed since day one.
Never changed.
Not like Luis Rivera's.
Definitely not like Louis.
Okay. And you know that this is a very tough time for you right now, sitting here having to answer all of these questions about your personal life, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And there's a camera behind us.
Yes, ma'am.
So you've had to go through this before and have all of your personal business.
Wow, Spacey Dove. That is a super generous super sticker. Thank you so much. That's really appreciated. You are you are honorary chairman of the first annual True Crime Metrix Expo Tallahassee 2025. Thank you so much, Spacey Dove. Really appreciate it.
All over, everywhere, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not easy.
No.
And you still elected to get up and do it again today.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because I want them to know the truth. It has to come out for me. All this speculation and all of this evidence and how everything's been, I've been living this for 6 years. And I just, if I didn't come up here and I didn't talk to my jury, I don't even know. I don't know what the outcome would be.
Would have been my final question, but that just introduced.
Okay.
I have no objection to those.
Second.
All right, so that's 40 and 41.
40 and 40.
All right, they'll be admitted.
Thank you. So just so the jury can see, this is a text message from Charles Adelson. That I decided to stop lending money to anybody that is not Medicaid.
Yeah, Rabbit, we need to put a friggin' flag on the moon, huh? Get Elon Musk down here. I need a rocket.
It just adds a lot of stress to my life, and almost nobody did anything. And that's in October 28th of 2015. Charles Adelson apparently lends a lot of people money, right? And then this one, when we talk about one of the times the car goes down. 11/18/2014. Oh my God, I have a bad news. FML. I have to take it back tomorrow, but the parts alone is expensive for both, so I need a loan. But later. Wow, imagine which is the credit card.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm taking care of.
See, Tara Kawass has just lost all pace with this. I mean, I know that she's away from the microphone, so the punchiness is gone away, but it's not a good redirect. The jury's just got Sarah Dugan in their minds thinking, wow, what a pit bull. And she seemed to have a lot of evidence.
His car, thanks, bud. Are you sure it's going to be like a grand or so? Now, this is between Charles Adelson and Sully, right?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
This is Charles Adelson going behind your back to try and take the
And
car.
right.
Is that because he knows that you are not somebody that just takes all these handouts?
No, I don't. I don't like to owe anybody anything.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Magbana, you may step down to the council table.
Your Honor. Just thinking, do you want?
Yeah, you can just leave everything there. All right, is the defense calling any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, the defense witness.
All right, the defense's rest. Does the state have any rebuttal witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so that completes the testimony.
Wow, did you see Katherine just walk off the stand there? She's totally, she knows she's completely fucked up, right? She's going, why did I get on the stand? Why did I spend all that time playing Kaplunk? I should have been looking at my notes.
Your Honor. You sleeping, do you want?
Also get a later.
Yeah, you can just leave everything there.
You sleeping, do you want?
Also get
Miss Dugan, do you want your transcript? Yeah, she'll be all right, Katie. Don't worry about Miss Dugan, okay? She'll get the transcript when you're in cuffs.
Your Honor. You sleeping, do you want?
Also get a later.
Yeah, you can just leave everything there. All right, is the defense calling any other witness?
That was like trying to light and offer her to bring the transcript so she doesn't have to walk the 14 feet to the witness box to get it. Then maybe they'll let me go.
You can just leave everything there. All right, is the defense calling any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, the defense witness.
She's
All right, the
shell-shocked.
defense's rest. Does the state have any rebuttal witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so that completes the testimony portion of the case. Okay, I apologize for keeping you so late, but I think you understand the importance of getting this done today. So I hope you bear with me. So tomorrow when we reconvene, we will start with the jury instructions and then closing arguments, okay? That will be done all in the morning. I expect that what we will do is that will be done by lunchtime.
Good one from Mentor Lawyer. Thank you, Mentor Lawyer, for having that video available to us to watch together and comment on. What about that, guys? We did another one, another Katie cross-examination. Still got one more to go, huh? From the Charlie Adelson trial. That's all a bit different, isn't it? And Rashbaum certainly gives us some shit. Yeah, it was a bit of a dry episode tonight, guys. Kind of a little bit of a stagnant video we watched. It was pretty much the same all the way through, huh? So apologies for that, and thanks for sticking with us. Yeah, tomorrow, Donna Adelson, case management update. Let's just go through these final comments. Kawass just can't restore Katie. Excuse me. Kawass just can't restore Katie to be credible for the jury. There's just no way to do that magic trick. Yeah, right. Even David Blaine couldn't do that magic trick. Yes, Marcus. She thought that I don't recall is the magic phrase. Yeah. Yeah, that's another misconception, is it? Isn't it? Yeah. Elon Musk was with Amber Heard, wasn't he? Maybe he's got a thing for psycho fucking nut jobs. So if he's moving SpaceX to Austin, Texas, maybe that's why Wendy's going there too. She wants Donald Trump's lawyer and a boyfriend, the richest man in the world with super rocket technology. Oh, there you go, Neville. You see, you're ahead of me. Yeah, Rabbit. Katie is shorter at Charlie's trial, but it's still difficult to watch. I wouldn't say I like her. I do have some sympathy for her. I certainly don't think she's the evil freaking nut job like Wendy and Donna, especially Wendy. You know, I really think Katie got into this just through ignorance. You know, didn't think it through, had assurances, was probably had a really bad rep given by Charlie about Professor Markel. Not that that excuses it, of course, but I don't see any of the evilness in Katherine as I do in Wendy. Nowhere close. Nowhere close. Of course, that doesn't excuse her involvement, and she's right where she needs to be. But listening to her talk sometimes is really tests you, doesn't it? Tests your tolerance level. It's like, listen, lady, either tell the story or don't, but don't make us drag it out of you with, like, you know, just a slow, painful procedure. Yeah, great chat today, guys. I can always count on this chat room, especially with you core community chat contributors, the quadruple C's of True Crime Metrix. Hey, Abana Antwi, welcome to the first chat you're catching live. Good to see you. Yeah, we're just about to close it off for the night, though. It's 2:15 in the morning, and I've got work tomorrow. I got a little bit of a late start. I just start at lunchtime tomorrow, guys. Yeah, so it might be a little bit quieter this week in the old True Crime Metrix universe. We'll see what we can do. Got to get on tomorrow to do Donna's case management. What do you call it? Review. Excuse me. Okay, guys, and big special thanks to, oh, so sorry, I forgot the name, Spacey Dove, for the very generous $50 super sticker. That is, I think that's the highest donation we've ever received, Spacey Dove. Thank you so much. That's very generous of you, and we really appreciate it. Okay, guys. Yeah, Neverly. I've been staying awake because I've been on Tallahassee time, you know. But it's all changing this week. I got to get back to the day job, whatever that is. Pay those bills, get those plane tickets. Yeah, I'll keep you all updated. Oh, and listen, the donations for the Dan Markel Fund, I haven't forgotten. I just need a bit of time to process, and I need to just add up the numbers, and then I need to speak to Fancy Fiction and just confirm with her whether I'm putting the money in the right place. So I'll be sure to update you all when those donations are collected from the 10-year special that we're going to be sending to the Justice for Dan Foundation. And I'll do a little video of me making the payment on the screen, and we'll celebrate. Okay, guys, catch you later. Good night. Don't be an Adelson. Be kind to each other. Love and peace forever. Bye.